Hi, welcome to the Hollywood Outsider Podcast. I am your host, Aaron Peterson. To my right is Mr. Scott Clark.
How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing super. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for having me on.
And to my extreme left is Mike Card.
Hey, everybody.
And then by extreme left, I actually mean Oregon.
Oregon.
To my middle left would be Justin McCumber.
Hey, guy.
Hey, guy. And to my extreme right, probably from a cotton field, is my friend Brian Williams.
Wow. Hello. Nice to be here.
You know what I think is cool about this podcast?
What's
is that we literally are circumnavigating, if that's even the right word, the entire country right now. We've got...
Yeah, basically every demographic is represented.
Yeah, it's like I mean...
I'm here for the gays.
The beauty of technology. We got Oregon, we got Texas, we got Georgia, we got Midwest. We just need somebody on the East Coast and maybe California, and it would be awesome.
Very diverse college football crowd.
Yeah. I know some people in California. That's all I got.
All right.
That's it. What we're going to be talking about is a lot about movies. I mean, that's really what the podcast is about. If you listen to the pilot show, then you know that we all know quite a bit about them. We're going to go into a plethora of topics. Ranging from, we're going to start off with new releases and how well they did, which is Cowboys and Aliens was the #1 movie last weekend. Then we're going to go into what's coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about news, take a little bit of a break, very quick break. We'll be back. We're going to have a weekly topic. That weekly topic is going to be something that each of us weighs in on. And we kind of try to have a discussion, and hopefully it'll make you guys want to get involved too. Maybe email us and tell us to shut the fuck up. Then we're going to go into DVDs and Blu-rays, and we'll wrap up. Now, from week to week, the format might change. There might be more TV news in some weeks, especially with the TV season getting ready to start. Right now, there's not anything on television that doesn't involve Charlie Sheen losing his fucking mind. So we're going to stay away from that for right now. But if anybody has any ideas or something that they want us to talk about, then please be sure to send us an email, which we'll give you at the end of the show, because hopefully that'll keep you around till the end. So, without further ado, let's talk about new releases. Anybody see Cowboys and Aliens?
I did. I saw it just a couple days ago.
I did not.
Justin? Brian? Anybody?
No, I didn't. I was still catching up with Harry Potter. So
wow, late to the
I was
party.
doing the same thing, actually. That's kind of weird.
So you're not the only ones that saw it,
So,
apparently?
Justin, did you see it?
No, I want to see it, and I'll probably see it over the weekend if I get a chance. But last week I started writing the new book, and when I'm writing, I really hate to take breaks to go, see movies or really do anything that doesn't involve writing. And so my wife has decided that she can no longer stand public crowds and dealing with all the nitwits and dipshits that seem to fill every movie theater we go to. So she's pretty much only going to be watching movies at home where she can pause it when she wants, tell me to shut up when she wants. So now I have to go see movies on my own if I don't go with my brother, and I'm writing. So maybe this weekend I might go see it, but during the week I'm in this chair, fingers typing on the keyboards.
So essentially, the answer is no.
Yeah, it's a short story made long. No,
I can't wait to read your book.
All right, Scott.
I'm writing novels, sir.
I'm just jacking with you, man. I'm
art.
just messing with you.
Okay, Scott, what'd you think? Oh, basically, here's what the plot is. Daniel Craig is Jake Lonergan, who wakes up, doesn't know who the hell he is, wanders into a western town trying to find out what the hell is going on. Eventually come to the realization that, hey, there's aliens in the town. Harrison Ford also stars as the local, what'd you call him?
Grumpy old guy.
Yeah, cranky old bastard who runs the town.
Scoundrel.
Curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Scoundrel.
A smuggler.
All right, what'd you think?
Cowboys and Aliens is the perfect idea, or exactly what I wanted from a movie called Cowboys and Aliens, if that makes sense. This is definitely a popcorn
That
summer.
means there's cowboys and there's also aliens?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Cowboys and Aliens in the same movie. I mean, evidently it's been done before by some obscure DVD that I have never seen.
It's called Serenity. But
Not that one.
There aren't aliens in that, so
Yeah, there are no aliens.
that's true. That is
No, this was a hella fun movie. I went into it not expecting, Schindler's List or anything like that. And I'm not gonna say like I checked my brain at the door or anything like that, but I went in just expecting to have a good time, and that's exactly what I had. I've been a big fan of Daniel Craig ever since Casino Royale, which is the first movie I saw with him. I know he's been acting before that, but I like him. I like his
Layer cake.
Layer cake. I like his character in this movie. I've always loved Harrison Ford. It was cheesy in a B movie kind of way, but I love just the cross generation of it, or the cross. Because in most alien movies, you see them in modern times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we kind of like, we've been around aliens so much, and like we're used to it. Like, oh, another alien movie.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a setting of people that have no idea that of the possibility of there being life outside of the planet, outside of Earth, or that Earth is even a planet. I don't know. But it was just a fun twist on it that made it a lot of fun. So, what did you think?
Well, I liked it. I liked it. I didn't think it was like the best movie all summer by any means, but I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it kind of is what it is. I don't think it aspires to be anything greater than Harrison Ford's Cranky and Daniel Craig as the typical lone Western hero.
Mm-hmm.
Rides into town, doesn't say much. He doesn't know who he is, but eventually you hear that whole story as it plays out. He's not really a good guy. He's not really a bad guy. It plays out like a typical Western, and actually the villains just happen to be aliens. They really don't. I don't think they ever even actually say alien in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually call them aliens. They call them demons, right?
Demons.
So that's pretty interesting. I mean, if your options are pay $10 for it, I would say it's probably worth a matinee, $6, which is kind of how I do the scale. What would what do you think?
I'm probably about the same. I mean, it's a movie that's a fun one to see in the theater. It won't be as fun seeing it at home, just because unless you got like a huge sound system or something like that, maybe on Blu-ray. But I get the feeling from watching this movie that like this is kind of like Jon Favreau has been planning to make a movie like this for like a long time. I mean, he's made Iron Man and Swingers and that kind of stuff.
When I think Cowboys and Aliens, I think Swingers.
No, I'm saying like that's how he started making movies like that. I mean, just the concept alone, and I don't know the story of how it came about and how he got into it, but this just seems like something that had been a secret desire of his to make, and I think it was a good choice for it because it was just a lot of fun. So,
full price is $10. What would you pay?
Well, I paid $9. So
no, what would you pay? What do you think is the right amount for that? That's always how I did the scale.
I probably like say probably about $7.
$10.
I think I might like a little bit more than you, but.
Hey, I've got a question about the movie. I haven't seen it, but I've noticed with the commercials, the previews and stuff, they show the exact same scenes every time. Is it one of those movies, almost like an action version movie, where they show all the best parts in the previews?
I don't think so. I was a little worried about the same thing, and there were a couple scenes that were really good from the trailer, but there were some equally good scenes that I hadn't seen in the trailer. So
I really think the trailer doesn't show you a whole lot.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, I think it kind of shows most of what I saw in the beginning was the setup. Mm-hmm. They really didn't have a lot of the ending or how everything you see is basically the first 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I have a question also.
Mm-hmm. Shoot.
How is Sam Rockwell in it? He's my favorite actor, so that would be one of the main reasons I was thinking.
Really
about
good.
it.
He was great.
He was really good.
He's kind of never not great, though.
Yeah, I know, but I really thought when he first started the movie, he was playing it. He plays the bar owner who's married to. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah,
but he has an incentive to this trek to get the aliens. His character starts off kind of as like the comedy relief, and then it kind of escalates into he's kind of an angry bartender.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like his redemption story. It's pretty much a redemption story for everybody, really, as the movie plays out. It's like some easy summer flick. It's not, it's not up to the level of, say, an Iron Man 2 or Transformers or anything like that. But it's great. If it was this October, I think it would be a perfect movie to go see. I just think they kind of overshot a little bit.
Maybe.
But
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You know what else? You know what else came out?
Smurfs.
Anybody?
We all saw that, right?
I was in line and then I left. You guys, anybody see it? Because that was a number 2 movie. It actually surprised every box office predictor that I read. Everybody had it going for like $10, $15 million, and it ends up almost beating Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah,
it was kind of back. It was kind of back and forth with Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, it was.
From what I gathered over the weekend,
it was within $1 million, which is very, very rarely ever happens with them.
There's a lot of children of the '80s out there.
I'm one of them, but I have no desire. I mean, it would have to have not only Katy Perry's voice coming out of Smurfette, but her boobs as well. And even then, I don't think I could dredge up the interest to see Smurfs.
I kind of you sold me on that pitch.
I was gonna say I totally would have seen it for that.
Did you see her Smurf dress that you?
I did.
Yeah, she's so
Hot
hot.
damn.
I would like it better
Need to Google
without.
this right now.
You know where that would be good? On the floor. Yeah, I said it.
Keep it on. There's
Crazy
access to
Sexy Love, which I actually heard was very good.
Crazy
but
Stupid Love.
That's what I said. Crazy Stupid Love.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better if it's sexy. Nobody wants to be crazy and stupid love.
you might be
But it is
surprised.
apparently called Crazy Stupid Love. I stand corrected. Or I sit corrected. I did not see it, but it's Steve Carell, Julianne Moore, Ryan Gosling. Who else is in that one?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Emma
who's
Stone.
Awesome. She's awesome.
Hot.
And hot. Hot, awesome, and funny.
But it's a comedy, and like I said last week, most comedies, 99 out of 100, I can wait until they hit DVD.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
But you know what was the kind of the surprise is Captain America plummeted. Like it had a great opening weekend. It actually did what I predicted, by the way. And unseated Harry Potter, the $65 million. Then it just collapsed the next weekend, which most people thought it was going to hold steady because it was a pretty good movie.
Harry
That was
Potter's
awesome.
dropped off a lot faster than I expected it to, because it was like a 70% drop after the first weekend, which isn't too crazy.
Not for what
But-
it made the first weekend. No.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that it's still like, what is it, like 50-some% down now?
Yep.
That's a lot more than I thought it would be at this point.
But it is not in tickets sold, but in dollar amount. It's the highest grossing
Oh,
Harry
yeah.
Potter movie, so that's good.
Well, it's the highest grossing opening weekend movie ever now, isn't
Just,
it?
I guess it isn't one of those movies people are going back to see more than once.
Well, yeah.
No, I think everybody kind of lined up the first weekend, and now it's just the stragglers, people that didn't get a
Well,
chance.
movies hit DVD so fast now. There's almost no point in going back to a theater to refresh your memory because shit, in 2 months, if that, you'll have the DVD. or
I'll be
Blu-ray.
honest, that's truly why I don't really repeat movies anymore, because I know it's going to be on DVD in a couple months. I already saw it. I mean, why spend another $10 when I could easily buy it for 15?
Right.
Yeah,
I haven't
not
done that
unless I'm
since
seeing it
Dark
with different people.
Right. More fun people. Maybe
Right.
maybe prettier people, people that'll put out, that kind of thing.
I only see movies with pretty people.
What was the last movie I saw in the theater? You guys have a movie you've seen in the theater twice recently?
Mine was Dark Knight was the last time I did
Dark
it.
Knight.
Bridesmaids. I
think
saw
I
that
s-
twice.
I think I saw Inception twice. Maybe.
Not in a long time.
It's just too damn expensive. We should have had a topic about how.
Oh, well,
expensive
I
movie
did see
tickets are.
Transformers 3 twice. Once with my brother and once by myself.
Well, that would be twice.
Yes, it was awesome.
Was it awesome by yourself, or were you sad? Did you cry a lot? It suddenly became a weeping drama.
I just sit in the back corner and silently weep to myself in my popcorn.
Rocked back and forth.
I feel alone like Shia does.
Can I just say about the box office that I'm glad the Zookeeper is almost off of it now.
God,
Are you? I was going to open
Yeah.
for Zookeeper too. I'm not going to lie. I really
Electric
wanted.
Boogaloo.
This time he goes to the African jungle and they just start talking to him.
And he gets killed by a tiger.
Yeah.
And then they talk about it for the rest of the movie.
They should just
Exactly.
call those movies Getting Your Paycheck 1, Getting the Paycheck 2. I mean, really, why even put a fucking title on it?
I I would probably go see that. Didn't they do that movie? It was called Ben Affleck, wasn't it?
That was, yes, that was
Yes,
Paycheck.
Paycheck. It was called Paycheck.
Oh man, that movie is stupid.
That's because it was a paycheck. At least they were honest about it right in the title.
I have a friend
Well, it
that
was
loves
actually
that movie,
named
too.
after a Philip K. Dick novel.
You got your version, I got the truth. All right. Moving on.
Before you moved on, I wanted to tell you something.
Okay.
Last time we were on, we were talking about Green Lantern, and
Yes.
I thought that there was going to be a sequel. You said no, and I actually read
they've reversed
yesterday
it. Yep.
that they are going to be making a sequel.
You are correct. I am. Well, I was right.
So,
I was right at the
stuff.
time. No, I was right at the time. They changed their mind. They actually called it off like twice already, but now they're saying that they want to go ahead because they think they can. There's a base there because of the opening weekend. I think it's.
Can
I'll be surprised if it happens. I'll be honest with you.
Can I pose a question about that? Well, it's kind of a larger question about, Marvel is obviously having a lot of success with their properties, and I feel like DC, with the exception of Batman, is just completely, squandering every opportunity.
Mhm.
What do you guys feel like they need to do differently
We
to
talked
kind
about
of
this last
save
week, didn't we?
the
Yeah.
DC superhero stuff?
Well, we
I said
covered
it
it in the
last
pilot,
week.
Mike. If you would have
Yeah.
listened to it, I'm just saying. But the answer to that that we agreed on was that Marvel has a really smart way of selecting filmmakers and writers. They actually write they're very particular about their franchise, very particular about who takes over their material. And they've been just doing a fantastic job. DC has not yet done that. I think they're trying to do it with Superman, maybe, with Zack Snyder. I think they got lucky with Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't, unless they adapt the procedures and policies that Marvel does, I don't see any way that DC can change things.
If they can start ramping everything up, like I said, to a Justice League or Justice Society of America film, then I would be more interested. But standalone movies, I'm not nearly as interested in.
But it might be too late for them to do something that epic.
I think it's too late. Yeah.
You know, it's almost too late in the game because once the Avengers comes out, you might see a drop off with the comic book movies after that. I still think that we still have quite a few years left of good comic book movies, but to start something like that, it's almost too late in the game.
It's going to be not popular anymore in another 10 years.
And people start making good video game movies.
Oh, we're not going back into that. All right, so
you're not allowed to talk about video games on this show, Mike.
That's right.
I just said video game movies.
I
That's
know.
all I said.
We also talked about that in the pilot.
We touched on
I'm just
that too.
saying.
I get yelled at for bringing up anything video game related on this show. So
Yeah. So coming up.
Introduce the idea, everybody.
Coming up. I know. We appreciate it. Listen to the pilot. So August 5th, which probably by the time anybody listens to this, it already would be out. But coming up is Rise of the Planet of the Apes and The Change-Up. Rise of the Planet of the Apes is James Franco, basically redoing the origin story, I guess, of Planet of the Apes. I mean, well, I guess they're not redoing; they never did one, but they're taking it from. They're doing it as a prequel. Like this is how the Planet of the Apes happened.
I have absolutely no
It's
interest.
a remake,
in seeing this
actually.
movie.
I don't think.
Well, no, because they never did it.
No, it's an origin.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an original
they
story.
did. It was like the 5th or 6th movie.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Wow.
it
I'm
all
pretty sure.
it all started. Yeah, it all took place in Los Angeles. It was really, really bad, but
So is this one? Actually, the reviews, everything that's up so far is positive. The special
I'm
effects.
surprised by that.
I am
I
too.
tell you, I like. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm definitely going to go see it.
That's my pick for the week. I'll be honest with you. That's the one I want to see out of the two of them.
I wasn't interested because I hate the apparent CGI-ness of all of the apes in the movie. That really kind of just throws me off. But I learned last night that Andy Serkis is actually responsible for the motion capture of these characters, and now what threw me off is now kind of bringing me back because I love Andy Serkis, what he did with The Lord of the Rings, and what he's gone on to do with Heavenly Sword and Enslaved video games. He does a lot of really good motion capture. So I'm curious again.
What do you think, Mike?
When I originally saw the idea, it doesn't bother me too much. I think what really kind of made me worry about it was James Franco being serious scientist guy, and sort of the way that some hot model would be a serious scientist in Transformers or something.
Christmas Jones.
But
oh God, yeah, Christmas and
but
Christmas only comes once a year.
But at the same time, I think Franco can be fantastic. 127 hours is just incredible. The guy can act, and he knows what he's doing. But there was something about it that just sort of came off as kind of B-movie-ish to me. But after just kind of seeing some of the reviews, it makes me more interested.
Just don't make him up.
And I like Andy Serkis. I agree with that. So assuming that it kind of, has that level of quality to it, I could considerably, see myself going to see it.
Just don't let him host the Oscars anymore. That was awkward.
Yeah, it was awful.
Idea.
That was awful. And Hathaway looked hot, but that's pretty much it.
Also, the whole idea seems weird when you take it seriously because I feel like if that actually happened, we would just kill them all with guns in a day, and then we'd be like, that was fucked up, and then walk away. I don't know. But
they're so cute, though. You can't shoot them. They're adorable. You can't do that. You have no soul.
They're jumping in helicopters, ripping your face. Dude, chimpanzees ripped that woman's face off a couple years ago. Monkeys are scary, man.
Don't say monkeys. Justin will freak out on you. Apparently, chimpanzees are not monkeys.
Chimpanzees are not monkeys. They're apes.
Well, apes,
not
man.
the same thing.
Damn dirty
Is it like
apes.
a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a
Nice.
square?
Did you hear me? Said damn dirty apes. Nice
You
segment.
damn dirty apes.
The change-up. What about that one? Anybody interested?
I'm more
seeing
interested
that?
in that one.
So
Seriously?
am I, actually.
It looks like it's been done. I saw that movie. Kurt
Freaky
Cameron
Friday.
was in
Yeah.
it and shit.
Oh, yeah, that
It's
Kirk
been
Cameron
done
one. I
many
forgot
times
about
in
that.
the 80s. That don't mean we can't have another one now.
I hope Lindsay Lohan is one of them too. She pops up at the urinal and switches body.
I got a buddy that's single and wishes he was married, and I'm married.
What?
And wishes I was single, and so we're gonna go see this movie together and have some fun. So I'm looking
Are
forward
you
to it.
serious?
I'm dead serious.
I hope your wife. I really hope your wife listens to this because you just said you wish you were
I was
single.
gonna say.
You are a
Yeah.
fucking idiot. Because I'll never, honey, I'm fine. I'm perfectly happy with the way things are. I don't want to be single at all. I say
You know
it
what
in
I mean.
private, Scott.
All right, so the change up is not a new or original idea by any means, but it's like the Freaky Friday, or what was the name of that Jim Cameron or James
Not
Cameron?
James Cameron. Kurt Cameron.
Kurt Cameron, thank
It
you.
was like father like son.
Like Father Like Son, where like role reversal type thing, but in this
Seriously,
case,
James Cameron?
I don't know. You put me on the
He
spot.
did a body
So
switching
easy
movie and then did
and then
Avatar.
Blue People. No. It's like one guy's a married guy with kids, and he's kind of wishes or misses the single life, and then there's a single guy who apparently is tired of having sex with random women all the time, and wants
does
to be,
get old.
I know.
wants to be
What a
settled down,
beating.
and he and the two of them wind up being friends and end up peeing in a fountain that apparently
Makes all their dreams come true.
makes all their dreams come true, and they switch roles, and it goes from there. Like I said, not a new concept by any means, but I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan. He's one of my man crushes, so I'm not
He
gonna
is
lie.
pretty.
See, Justin agrees with me.
But come on, everybody knows not to make declarative statements in front of statues. That's always just gonna, or skulls. It's always gonna fuck you.
I,
Or Books of the Dead.
I kind of like the idea that they took it to that extreme where you piss in a wish fountain.
I don't know if I'd feel comfortable peeing in a fountain with another guy because
Should
they
I
were
wear-
standing in
drunk,
the fountain.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Doesn't matter if you're
matter.
comfortable. You're drunk.
Well,
You've
yeah, but
probably
it's
done it,
a
Scott.
big fountain. Why do you got to stand so close to each other?
Yeah.
Well,
Can't
it doesn't
stand on
mean that
either
it's not
side of
going to
it.
switch souls or whatever it does.
Brian, they're two
Still
white
peeing in
guys.
fountain.
They're two white guys. It's not going to matter. Trust me. Nobody's bumping into anybody.
All right, so my pick for this weekend is the change up. Aaron, yours.
Mine's Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Mike.
Mine's Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
Justin?
I gotta go with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. The change
all
up.
right. And Brian, the deal breaker here.
Yeah, I've got to
I-
go with Apes.
Oh,
Apes win.
Apes
What?
win
Apes
They
win.
always win. Damn.
next weekend.
Next weekend, 30 minutes or less. Look at Scott trying to take over hosting duties
Sorry.
again by habit. 30 minutes or less, which is the new Michael Cera. I'm sorry, Jesse Eisenberg movie. That's coming out where he has a bunch of fucktards. What's his name? Danny McBride from Easttown and Bound. However you say that. The HBO show. How do you say it, Brian? You know what I'm talking about.
East down and bound.
Eastbound and down.
Eastbound and down.
Thank you. That one.
Hold on up and trucking.
He's basically him and Nick
We gonna
Swarsden
get
are.
basically done.
Him and Nick's. You guys gotta let me fucking explain this shit.
We got
I'm
a
gonna go
long way
watch
to go.
fucking The Bandit. Shit, go.
I've never seen Smokey and the Bandit.
Danny McBride
What?
and Nick Swarsden. Shut up. Danny McBride and Nick Swarsden are the criminals that try to come up with a genius idea of strapping a bomb to a dude's chest and making him rob a bank, or they blow him up. So Jesse Eisenberg and Aziz Ansari get together and actually rob a bank, and then it goes from there. Scott and I've actually seen it. It's a great movie. Final Destination 3D Final Destination 5 in 3D. Whenever I can't keep them straight. A bunch of kids die or don't die and come back and then end up dying. That's the genius plot. And then Glee in 3D.
Squee!
It's like estrogen flying at your fingers.
I actually like Glee, but I'm not going to go see Glee in the theater. I'll tell you
Whoa,
that
wait a
right
minute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. What do you like about Glee?
now.
I
The
like
music
Glee
is
too,
freaking
but-
fantastic in Glee.
DVD.
Seriously, I watched it on DVD.
God.
It is really good.
It is good.
It's on Netflix Instant, Mike, if you want to check it out.
I think
I have
Justin,
zero
I think you're helping me overcome this whole kiboshi thinking that me and Aaron are gay. I think you and I are the new lovebirds on the podcast.
Or the new bromance.
Okay.
You guys could go and like take a a headset.
Piss in a fountain together.
The problem is that I'm the common denominator. That's what really sucks.
I am willing to bet that Scott would be the bitch if that helps you.
I'll see to that.
All right, my pick, even though I've seen it, is 30 minutes or less because I know it's pretty good. What about you, Scott?
I'm in the same boat. That movie is far funnier than it appears on the trailer, especially the short trailers that are showing on TV right now.
Yeah, and we'll probably be back on another one before this actually comes out, but I wanted to cover it just in case.
Yeah.
So, Justin?
Yeah, Danny McBride's a one-trick pony, but I like the one trick he does, so 30 minutes or less.
Sweet. Mike?
I would go with 30 minutes or less, just mostly because of what you guys said about it.
Nice. And Brian Williams?
Yeah, make it a clean sweep. I just like the cast and the previews made me laugh. Like I said, the casts, I like everybody in it. So I can't, I just won't pay money to go see Glee. And Final Destination it's done. It's just tired. Please stop making them.
Is this is this one on a bridge or something? Is that what this one is? The bridge collapses?
I didn't even bother. The first one was really fun and entertaining because it was an interesting concept. And
Loved the first one.
I just didn't care anymore. Even after the first one, driving into the ground. Just like Saw and all. I mean, first one's good. Stop.
I'm totally with you.
Well, but then again, you know what? Fast 5, bitch.
That's true.
Had to take it out to that 5th one to come back to the good stuff.
Every once
I kind
in
of
a while.
wanted to see that, but it was too late by the time I was able to.
Loved
See
it.
it.
Got to see it. Comes out on video October 4th, just so you know.
I'll watch it just because you guys.
My
talked
Georgia
about
brother Brian loves it too.
That's right. I will buy that movie.
My Georgia brother.
That was Brian and I's favorite movie so far this summer. You would also know that if you listen to the pilot. I'm just going to give you shit for the rest of the show. I kid because I love. Okay, we're going to go on the news. That's it for new releases. Hopefully you guys find something in there you want to see. Don't see Smurfs. I don't care what the box office says. It just looks fucking stupid. Everybody that I know that... Oh, wait. I don't know anyone that's seen it because it's all fucking stupid. That's why. Crazy Stupid Love, ironically, I've heard is actually really good. So if you're looking for a good chick flick or you really screwed up with your missus and you need to make things right, that would be the right choice.
One of the things I heard about that movie and a lot of the reviews I read is that it starts out a little slow, but it gets progressively more and more good.
Kind of like our podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Or not.
No, we started out slow. So if you're still hanging with us, God bless you. You're my hero. We're going to go into news. So a little bit of what's happening in the entertainment world. 3 new trailers came out this week. Anybody see them? Battleship was the first one.
I saw it.
I feel like I shouldn't talk about Battleship because I have a friend that worked on that movie.
Seriously?
Yeah, like a close friend of mine too.
I would think as you especially. Trust me, nobody's listening. It's okay. What's he do?
He did a bunch of different stuff. I think he was a production assistant for most of it, so he was kind of all over the place. But he's been shooting it, or was shooting it. You know, it was like they shot it a while ago because he went to school in Hawaii and ended up working on shows like Lost and stuff. So he's been around a lot of different things. But one day he told me he was shooting that, and I was like the game, and he's like, yeah, and I was like, all right, well, let me know how it goes. And then he kind of just never talked about it, and then. But he said, it was a good experience working on a movie. For somebody like me who's trying to get student TV work, I mean, you can take whatever it is. And at the end of the day, he said, they definitely worked hard on it and all that stuff. So I don't really want to say too much about it, although I will say that was not a good trailer. Even if it was like a great movie, I think it was a terrible trailer.
Got no semblance of really what that movie's about. Other than a bunch of ships are in the ocean, and some guy is trying to prove himself, and that's all I got.
I liked the trailer. And, I knew that the trailer's for Battleship and it was based on the game. And so the whole opening, probably first half or so, maybe a little more of the trailer, did not read like anything based on a game. And it really kind of had me excited. But as soon as it got to the aliens and then that dome settling down, I was like, oh, shit, now we're getting to the fucking game. Yeah. That's exactly what it's going to have to be. Just
for people that haven't seen it, basically, these people get out on these giant battleships. Battleships. And then... I guess alien forces, I'm not sure, but enact a dome that keep you placed in this general area, and then bombs and shit start going off. That's really the whole trailer. And I have a lot of faith in Peter Berg, who's the director.
Yeah.
And he's done The Rundown, which is one of my favorite action comedies.
Hello,
The Rock. Yeah.
Little thunder.
Oh, you really? This is radio. Nobody can see you wiggling your leg.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen it. We know.
But he's actually a pretty accomplished director. He did Friday Night Lights and a couple other things. So, Hancock. So I thought, man, this is Peter Berger. Could work out. So I'm going to watch the trailer.
Liam Neeson's in it. That's always kind
Liam
of
Neeson, yeah, but
for
he
me
did
a good
Clash
sign.
of the Titans, and I hated Clash of the
Oh,
Titans.
Some
God,
of the stuff that they have him say is stupid. Like, you could have been the best soldier ever, or whatever it was. And I was just like, who wrote this? Like, I don't know. Some of the
guys from Top Gun wrote it.
Corny.
I was half looking for Goose and Maverick to fly in.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't know what it was the first time I saw it. I until it said Battleship on the screen, I had no idea. And I went, what? Like, my reaction as soon as I saw it.
What'd you think, Brian?
Don't talk bad about Goose and Maverick. Not in my presence.
I don't. I'm really a big fan of sand volleyball. So, anybody see the trailer for Ides of March? Moving on.
No, I heard that he was making it, but I haven't actually seen the trailer yet.
Well, the trailer finally came out, and it's got Ryan Gosling as an understudy, or he's the publicist, I'm sorry, for, I believe it's a senator, governor, whatever, running for president, and that's played by George Clooney. Trailer looks great. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I'm a big fan of his independent stuff.
Yeah, it looks good, and Clooney's one of my man crushes, so I'll see almost anything he does.
I don't know. I would probably sleep with him, but anyway. Mike?
I don't know about what I would do with George Clooney, but everything he's directed.
But you know what you'd do.
What was that? Oh man, I'm blanking on the name of the movie. The one where it was during the McCarthy thing. Good night, and good luck.
Yeah,
was just kind of started me on his stuff, and I've really enjoyed everything he directs, whether or not he's in it. So I mean, I'm already, unless the trailer looks really bad, I'm there already because guy's fantastic director.
Yeah, it looks really good. Brian, did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw it. It looks good. It just looks, just looks good. I'm not exactly sure what to expect from it, but I don't really care that he directed it. But Clooney's he's one of my man crushes too. So
well, I can't believe Brian just said man crush. I'm kind of impressed. You're coming around.
Don't you get hanged for that down there?
He's a modern Southerner.
That's right.
I know, but you're like Mr. Testosterone. I'm kind of surprised you would say that. Good to you. I guess we
Clooney breaks down all men.
I got a man crush.
All right, the next one's Tower Heist. This actually looks kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
It's
this
Ben
is so
Stiller
great.
hires Eddie Murphy to rob a CEO who snazzed millions of their savings in retirement.
The funny
fund.
thing about this trailer was that it started out. I didn't realize it was a comedy until halfway through the trailer, and I saw Ben Stiller, and I was like, Ben Stiller in a serious movie, and then the comedy came in, and I was like, oh, okay.
And if you've seen it, it kind of almost looks like I'm not gonna jump the gun yet, but it almost looks like Eddie Murphy's trying to be Eddie Murphy, from the '80s.
I mean, he's not wearing a fat suit and farting.
Exactly.
No, he actually looks like he's playing the
Scott.
modern version of his character from Trading Places.
Yes, that was exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Places. Yep.
That's a perfect synopsis of it, actually. Yeah.
I just don't want this neutered Eddie Murphy we've been getting for the last decade because he had kids. Because I really feel like that's what happened to him. Is he had kids and it ruined all of his comedic ability. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Anything he's done.
I think he's been neutered. I think he probably got whacked at some point, and I mean that literally.
This looks genuinely funny, though. I'm looking forward to seeing this a lot.
Brian?
Yeah, it looks funny. It's it's piqued my interest, but Eddie, I'm kind of the same way with Eddie Murphy. To me, he's not been relevant in a long time. So maybe it's a comeback for him. I mean, I hope it is. I've always liked him. He's always been funny to me, and I've even liked some of the stuff that he's done just because he's got clout. But yeah, it's to me he's not really been relevant in a long time. So
or something.
Since what?
I think since Bowfinger.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Bowfinger was great.
Bowfinger was really good.
I actually haven't seen
awesome.
Anybody see the first pictures of Bane from Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, yes, I did.
What'd you think? What'd you think? It looks, I don't know, kind of like a hazmat suit fell apart on his head. I don't know what else.
Well, I think it's hard to judge, especially like Christopher Nolan. Remember what we all said about the Joker the first time we saw it? We were like, this isn't going to work, and then that turned out to be amazing. But I think it looks like Cobra Commander in that lighting and everything. But I'm willing to just kind of give it the benefit of the doubt and wait till they kind of put that on film. But it does look really creepy when you see it out of context.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. It looks, because in the shot it's all like daylight out, and it's not like, it doesn't have that Christopher Nolan dark glow to it. If that makes
the dark glow.
A dark glow.
I think one of the things I hate about movie stills, because they're not, they're taken in broad daylight, they're taken with people around. The guys are just kind of standing there. You have no idea what kind of effects or things are layered going to be on the film. I never judge how a movie is going to look from pictures.
Especially when Chris Nolan is behind the helm.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
I like sort of like the costume makes him look big. I mean, like that big coat and stuff. I think that I'm interested to see kind of how they shoot him, because I think he could look really awesome, based on the sort of geometry that they're setting up with that costume, if that makes any sense. I mean, they definitely designed that stuff to make him look large.
What do you guys think about Lawrence Fishburne playing Perry White in Superman? There's easy jokes here. I'm just not going to go for them.
It's a weird choice. I mean, and not one that I'm saying won't work, but just because Perry White is not a character I would necessarily give to Fishburne, because Fishburne usually is playing it so like straight laced, and Perry White's kind of like that J.J. Jameson, Spider-Man kind of thing sometimes. So I can see it working, but I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I'd love to see the casting tapes or something. Like that.
Did you see Predators?
Yes.
When he
every time Lawrence Fishburne's mentioned, that's gonna be a reference.
I'm saying that like he usually is straight laced, like you're saying, but he was a little crazy in Predators. Like
yeah, but like it was a different kind of. Even then, it was a little more like serious. Whereas like I feel like Perry White is generally a comic, not totally comic relief because you can use him in other ways, but you know, he's a little more.
Yeah, I think he's trying to say that you don't think of Lawrence Fishburne as funny.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, and I guess I'm sure he could be. I mean, this could totally work. It's just not something I see working like from the stuff we've seen even before. It would be like a new kind of place for him to go for the most part.
To echo what Mike said earlier about, Batman, I mean, Heath Ledger as Joker, when we first heard that, we were like, what? Now,
I will say this because I'm sure a lot of people think it. Nobody's going to say it because it's very on PC, and I don't really care. But, and obviously, easy jokes aside, what do you guys think about changing the color of an iconic character? I mean, I don't really care, but his name is Perry White, and he's an iconic white character in superhero. You guys, I mean, I really don't. Honestly, I don't care. I'd rather have Will Smith if you're going to have a black guy play a white guy. But what do you guys think in terms of that? Do you think it's a big change? Do you think they're going for something?
I don't think
particular?
he is a kind of a semi-main character, but he's not. You're not making Clark Kent a black guy.
Yeah, that would have been way more of a discussion point. I mean, I don't feel like it matters at all. It's
kind of like, Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. Okay, yeah, Nick Fury in the comic books was white, but
Samuel Jackson.
And,
well, but at least
and Lawrence
Nick...
Fishburne is a bit of a heavy anyway. No weight joke, not making a weight joke there, but he is. But he is kind of a badass. And,
no, but to defend,
I think he'll fit it. I think he'll do fine.
To defend the casting though of Samuel L. Jackson in the Ultimates line, when Marvel created the Ultimates, when they created the new Nick Fury, the person they modeled Nick Fury after was Samuel L. Jackson.
That's
so when
true.
they got around to filming the movie, it only kind of made sense because a lot of the looks of the characters, the Thor in the movie is much more the Ultimates Thor than the original Marvel Thor. So I had no problems with that. Do you guys, though, remember back when they were first talking about revamping or restarting Bond? One of the names that kind of got bandied about was Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, I don't know why it kind of bothered me that they were going to make a character that had been this white Brit for so long a black actor. And I don't know if it was because he was black or because he wasn't British.
I don't think he would have played British very well.
But
I think it would just been that he would have sucked at being James Bond. Like
right.
I don't think it would have bothered me too much if he was black. It would have been like, once again, like when you guys keep using the examples, it's like, well, they didn't make Superman black and they didn't make James Bond black. And I think that's kind of thing is like Perry White isn't a character that I don't think anybody at the end of the day is going to care whether he's black or white. That's just kind of my whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a secondary, tertiary character. I don't think he's all that iconic. I mean, maybe if you're a real dyed in the red and blue Superman fan, you kind of see him that way. But I think for your general audience, it's not going to matter. I mean, it's certainly not, Halle Berry as Catwoman. But shit, that movie was so bad, it didn't matter who they fucking put in it.
Oh, it mattered because she made it worse.
I don't know if it was her or everybody involved.
I think it was pretty much everyone. I think everybody that was involved in that movie probably should be kicked out of Hollywood.
It was such a weird time to release that movie, too. Like, I don't know how Catwoman was even relevant at the time.
She wasn't. Halle Berry's always relevant as long as she's naked and not talking.
She's vanished off the face of the earth, though.
It's because she didn't deserve that Academy Award.
Yeah, but now we got a new Catwoman coming.
We do, but I don't really look. I'm not looking forward to Anne Hathaway. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know that was a long segue from the Superman thing, but I don't look forward to Anne Hathaway. I'm hoping Nolan knows what he's doing, but yeah, I'm not buying it. Moving on, Expendables 2 news. They actually have some people cast for this fucking thing.
Why was Chuck Norris not in the first one?
Because he was too busy with his religious weird stuff.
He didn't want to do it.
Punching people with his beard.
This is some of the punching people with this beard. This is some of the people that were announced for it. John Travolta is actually going to be in the Expendables 2, which, I've seen Broken Arrow, but that was a long time ago, John.
Face Off.
Face Off was a long time ago, too. Chuck Norris is obviously going to be in it, which you're getting up there, Chucky. You ain't no
Yeah, he's
spry
getting a little
chicken.
long in the tooth.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme, if he can stay,
Fuck yes.
if he can stay clean for it, he's going to be in it.
You know who the villain should be? Mel
Jean-Claude Van
Gibson.
Damme. Mel Gibson.
That would be awesome, and you know it. Doing like
that
a
would
rigs,
be awesome.
crazy racist rigs. That'd be amazing.
That would be fantastic.
Calling
Like,
everybody
imagine how many tickets that would sell right there.
Where's Murtaugh? He's in the back cleaning my fucking kitchen.
Oh my god.
I'm so glad Van Damme is going to be in this because all his cheesy movies aside, I have always liked his performances, whether bad or not. The dude he's
I
definitely got
actually am one of the very few people that think he can act. I really think he's not a bad actor.
Well,
think he can act.
JCVD have proved he can act.
If you could see JCVD, Brian, he actually he knocked it out of the park. He's fucking phenomenal in that movie. Even though the movie's about him, so it should be pretty ezy to play himself.
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly.
He really became that role.
He did.
He really sunk his teeth into that
did.
role.
But let me ask you a question,
method
Brian.
acting.
Did you actually see JCVD?
I didn't know, but I didn't say it was a bad movie.
Oh,
And
I know,
didn't
but you
I've
obviously
I've seen enough of his other stuff where he actually acts as a different character other than himself, and he's horrible, absolutely horrible.
What did you? There was a Nowhere to Run.
that
Did you ever
aside-
see Nowhere to Run? I thought he did a very good job, even though it was a cheap little
Did you ever
action
see-
flick.
Did you ever see Bloodsport?
Well,
And
Oh God, that was good.
that was a good movie.
Street
that was
Fighter.
a good movie, but his acting
Street
is
Fighter.
horrible.
That was his first movie. You're so mean. Why do you?
Or what about his mullet from Hard Target, dude? That is a performance.
You
That's
know?
true.
But that being said, I'm excited to see him in the Expendables 2, and I'm all for it. I like the
Only if
first
he
one.
does the splits and we get to see his ass
Oh,
Jeez.
what?
again.
Okay,
Okay, that's
Now-
like 3 man crushes you got now, dude.
No,
that was
He
a
showed his
legitimate
ass in
man
every
crush.
movie.
That sounded like I want a dude right there. That didn't sound like a man crush.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, as much as I like Van Damme, I've never said I hope he does a split so I can look at his ass.
He's too tough for me.
But hey, man, like I said, I'm here for the gays.
he'd make
so-
me be bottom, and I can't have that.
Oh, that's a good time to leave. Harry Potter and the Transformers, the new Transformers 3, actually both broke $1 billion worldwide. So that is, I think, the 9th and 10th movies to do so ever. And
I'm really
also,
surprised.
Pirates 4 did it earlier, like in June.
Really?
Yeah. So those 3 movies have all broke $1 billion since.
That
This
means
year.
we'll get more of them. Well, not.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
kind of done with Harry Potter, though.
That's
think.
what I mean.
yeah, Harry Potter's they'd be really hard.
No, I
for us
heard
to
they were
come
doing
to
another series like with different kids.
I
that
think
were-
they'll probably redo it at some point.
Yeah.
They'll wait a while, but they'll start it over.
You got to think that they can't look at money like that and go like, we'll give you all the money in the world to write more of these J.K. Rowling.
Well, yeah, but I think she's got enough money where she doesn't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
She's the
Unless she,
second richest woman in England, only behind the fucking Queen.
I hope she overtakes
We'll make you the
Queen.
queen, J.K. Rowling.
Kick
All
that
right.
old bitch out.
But here's the thing I wanted to bring up is that I don't think people realize how much, because I've heard people on talk shows and whatnot, and they talk about, well, movies, total flop here, but it ends up doing like hundreds of millions of dollars overseas, and they end up getting a sequel. Nobody understands why. That's why. Harry Potter did really well. It did like $300 million so far, and same with Transformers. They've done about the same, about little over $300 million each, but worldwide they've done $1 billion.
I
Pirates
think that's
4.
why Green Lantern's going to get Green
No,
Lantern's
overseas actually, and that one overseas hasn't done that great. It's
sequel. Oh,
done.
I heard the opposite, but
It's done about 100 million, I think. So that's like 250 total.
yeah,
but it
not-
just
not a
started.
ton.
It just started. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you.
Okay. Thor's done really well overseas. Captain America has not, obviously, because it's called Captain fucking America, and nobody likes
I
us.
hear it's big in Vietnam over there.
I heard they were actually calling it the first Avenger overseas.
They are, but they know what it is. There's a big giant
Yeah.
fucking star on them.
It's kind of hard
It's
to
red,
hide.
white, and blue. Kind of hard to miss that.
No, nobody's mistaken. Is that China? I don't know. Who is he? But in Pirates, it did only like 220 or 40 million here, and did $1 billion worldwide. That goes to show you how much money a movie can make overseas. America is not nearly as relevant as it used to be.
Yeah.
And actually, China is coming up to rival America. Transformers 3 has already made over $100 million. That's only the second movie ever to do that in China. So they're really up and coming, and pretty soon they will own America. So you guys need to start practicing some Chinese. Just like Joss Whedon said so.
So our own little home front.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
Dude,
Gotta
I
do it.
swear to God. No, Joss Whedon was a more relevant one since he created a whole show that said China and America were going to merge. Jesus Christ.
Joss Whedon's still relevant?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I will not hear such language said in my presence.
And this isn't so much news, but it cracked me up. 2.5 Men is apparently going to kill off Charlie Harper, Charlie Sheen's character in the show, and replace him with Ashton Kutcher. So not only are they going to say, "No, Charlie, you're fired," we're going to make sure you can never, ever, ever, ever come back.
How are they going to do that? They're going to be like, oh...
How are they going to kill him? He's dead. He probably
I
got...
hope they drop a fucking piano on his character.
Oh, apparently there's a. I just heard this recently that someone checked an odds website, and apparently it's 200 to 1 odds if they drop a piano on him.
Seriously?
So, yeah.
And
the fact that was just brought up and he didn't know about that means that maybe you put $1,000 down.
No, even how do you do that without him being on the show? I mean, they'd be like, oh, he's in the hospital, and
it happens off camera. It's artsy.
They have a stand-in.
A friend of mine really hopes that he dies by like a heroin overdose or by getting an STD, which I think that could be funny. If he dies like he got like really express AIDS or something.
So Ashton Kutcher, see, I was told apparently incorrectly that Ashton Kutcher was actually playing his role.
No, he's playing a totally different role.
Okay.
Now, the way I understand it is that Charlie Sheen's character dies, and then Ashton Kutcher steps in as like somebody that buys the house, and I don't know how they get from one to the next, but it's still going to be called 2.5 Men.
Oh, okay.
So, next, Star Trek 2. Anybody looking forward to it? Because it's not coming for a while.
I can't wait.
I can't either.
I'll be waiting a while, but I can't wait.
I would think I'm probably the biggest Star Trek fan on the show, and I'm not totally sure. I've never talked about Star Trek, but I'm so glad they're waiting to do this until they're kind of ready to do it. Well,
originally it was supposed to come out next summer.
I know.
And now it's going to be pushed back to like 2013. The earliest is what it looks like. And you want them to wait?
Yeah, I think rushing films is one of the biggest problems with blockbusters and stuff. I think that so many movies that have come out that have been mediocre or fallen short are because they want to crank it. It's kind of like the same. Well, actually, I won't make the video game comparison, but I think that I think rushing things just to make more money faster generally does a disservice to the actual property. So, with Star Trek, I feel like giving those writers time to kind of, especially with something that's as complex as what they're doing with that franchise, which is basically doing an alternate universe at the same time is also doing a sequel to everything else. Mm-hmm. So, I think that they really could benefit from the time that they need to take on it. And not only that, but getting that kind of cast together when a lot of those guys kind of took off after that film is just going to be better for everybody in the long run.
Yep.
Mike, you and I will have to have a trek off.
I have been watching a ton of Next Generation since they got on Netflix. I mean, just every day almost, just watching one or two.
I started watching it right before you were born.
Yeah. What about you, Bri?
I'm excited. I don't know. I'm kind of checked out with it. I mean, if there was some kind of buzz about it coming out next year or even the year after, then I'm fine with it. Then I will definitely go see it. But if they're doing a Star Trek 2 as in a follow up to this last one, I mean they really need to get started doing something because otherwise Chris Pine is going to be as old as John Travolta by the time they get around to it, and it's just going to be a mess. So they'll just have to start.
You know what I want to see a sequel to?
Uh-oh.
Is Galaxy Quest.
Oh,
I want Galaxy Quest so bad.
That movie was so good.
That was one
like Rathgar's Hammer. I would too.
That was one of the few good Tim Allen movies.
Oh, it was so clever. I love that movie. Like Rathgar's Hammer. Alan Rickman was awesome in that movie.
Alan Rickman was pissed.
Especially when he's
Sam
so pissed
Rockwell
out of
owns
the
that movie, though.
Sam Rockwell. Boy, you really are. You do have a big crush on him, don't you? God bless you. I think Sam Rockwell is awesome. In Charlie's Angels, actually, is probably my favorite role that he did.
I liked him in Moon.
Oh, man, that's a good movie.
Yeah,
Look at
Moon was a
you
good movie.
pulling out the random shit.
That was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
I will say about Star Trek also real quick that they need to get another TV show going or something because, I don't know, I feel like that they have a little bit of relevance from that movie. People are kind of care again because I think that was their biggest problem before. But they've kind of done nothing. I mean, with the movie aside, I feel like they could probably get away with doing some on TV that, with the amount of momentum they've gotten out of that movie. But that's just
I don't know. I think they need to let the stink of Enterprise and Voyager thin out a bit more because their last several shows, I mean, DS9 was good, but Voyager and Enterprise were just, in my opinion,
I actually kind of like Voyager, to tell you the truth. I don't think
Voyager to me is a wasted opportunity.
Okay.
True.
Whatever.
Let's not have a Trek off. Let's not have a Trek off right now. You guys can get your own podcast for that shit.
Yeah. They just need to take their time with it, film it in 3D, and then just really make it awesome.
We're going to take a quick break, and during the break, you're actually going to hear the trailer for Tower Heist. So we will be back in just a minute. Talk to you soon.
The average apartment in the tower costs $5.6 million. We have the best views, most advanced security systems, but you know what these people are really buying?
White neighbors?
Us, the staff. They pay for our full and undivided attention 7 days a week.
And Enrique, one other thing. I may have my own private island in Belize, but deep down, I'm just an Astoria boy like Josh here.
That's right, PS 104. Go Lions.
Just an hour ago, the tower's richest resident was released into federal custody under house arrest here at his penthouse apartment.
Several years ago, he was asked to manage all of your pensions. Right now, they're saying that anyone who invested with Mr. Shaw has been defrauded.
Did he get your money, too?
Yeah, he did.
If you need me, I'll be living in this box.
All these guys keep cash close by, but we still haven't found Shaw's safety net. 20 million and change.
So you're saying you want to rob Arthur Shaw? It's inside a building that has the most advanced security and is guarded by FBI agents 24 hours a day. We're not criminals. We don't know how to steal.
Don't worry. I know someone who does.
I made bail.
How come you bail me out? Man, I don't even know your name.
You don't remember Mrs. Salzberg? We used to get dropped off at her apartment every morning for daycare. Come on. Heavy-set German woman, short goatee.
You the little seizure boy that's having them seizures all the time.
No.
You would have seizures on a regular basis, and all the kids would be crying, and your eyes is rolling back, and the foam and coming out. It was very scary.
Asthma doesn't cause seizures.
Why'd you bail me out?
Because I have a job.
Oh, little seizure boy want to try to rob somebody, huh? What you trying to steal?
$20 million.
A robbery can change very quickly. You have to be ready to adapt to the situation at any moment.
I got your ski hats.
No, masks. I said ski masks.
But the guy said these would keep us the warmest.
Anything can happen. I was on a job a few days ago and my homie got shot in the face.
Get shot in the head, it's over.
If you get shot in your head, it's over. If you get shot in your face, the bullet will go in your cheek, then come out the other side. Then what you gonna do?
Die. I'm gonna die.
You people are working stiffs, clock punchers, easily replaced.
I don't care what it takes, but we'll find a way to make things right.
Mate's gone rogue.
You know this is a bad idea, right? That's it.
I don't want you talking to me for the rest of the robbery.
First thing you do, you gotta find the entry point. You gotta use your fingers when you find the entry point. You married?
No, I ain't married. What's up?
And that was Tower Heist. So if you guys are interested, check it out. Looks like Eddie Murphy might be funny. Who knows?
He's back.
He's back. He's back. He's black. We're gonna go into what we like to call our weekly topic, which is kind of each week or each time we do the show, depending on how, if we do it every week, whatever we do. We're gonna have at least one topic where everybody can kind of riff on, and it could be a movie topic, could be something about going to the movies, like maybe popcorn prices, or do you like butter all over your popcorn? Or it could be something about TV. It could be a million different things. Whatever we decide is interesting that week. This week we're kind of going to talk about 3D and if it's here to stay or if it needs to get the fuck out. And I'm going to lead with Scott. What do you think?
I vote get the fuck out.
Because?
It was a trend in the 70s and 80s, and like, I know, granted, it's a different type of 3D. I'm tired of a reason that I have to pay an extra $3 to go see a movie that's already expensive. It does look pretty, but I've been proven wrong with the 3D thing before. So,
Brian, what do you think? We're gonna just get everybody's opinion, then we'll really delve into it.
Yeah, I'm fine without it. Unless it's done right, unless it's filmed in 3D, then I'll give it a shot, like Avatar or something. But for the most part, I don't like wearing gear to watch a movie.
Wearing gear like swag.
Yeah, I don't want to have I don't need accessories to watch a movie. I'm fine with 2D. Maybe I'm just a simple redneck, but I'm fine with 2D. And
I'm trying to stay away from the redneck jokes, but when you keep mentioning it, it makes it very hard.
It's hard. I know it. I try to tee them up for you, and you swing and miss.
So, Mike, what do you think?
It's complicated with me because I know, and I can talk about this in a second, but as far as my opinion goes, I would like it to go away. But knowing that it's going to stay, that's kind of where the issue comes from. I think that I really enjoy it when it's shot to be in 3D. Like Avatar, pretty much what Brian was saying is kind of what I agree with. When stuff's shot that way, it looks really cool. I mean, I remember being really skeptical of it before we really ever saw any of it, and shot the way that Avatar was shot. But I remember seeing Avatar and going like, I totally understand what everybody was saying now. But with all these movies that are not shot and sort of converted to 3D, I almost always left going, what did that add to the movie? Mm-hmm. And, if they're not going to shoot it that way, they're wasting their time. But at the same time, they're going to keep doing it and continuously. They're putting too much money into it to stop.
Okay. Justin?
I mean, like Brian and Mike said, it's, and like I said last week, if Mike could listen to the fucking show, if they're going to shoot it in 3D, then I'll watch it in 3D because that was the intention from the very get-go.
Your check is in the mail, by the way. But go ahead.
If they're just going to post-process it and just film it and, mail it in, I've got a little interest. But I think where I differ a little bit is that I like that there are filmmakers out there that are trying to push visual boundaries. And if this ultimately leads to me getting to stand in a holodeck and watch a movie around me, then goddamn thank you, James Cameron and the rest, for pushing film beyond the 2D. And like Avatar was amazing. And what I really liked about it is that it wasn't all shit just flying in your face, And a lot of people took it to task because it didn't do that. But I love the subtlety, and it was all the background stuff and just the depth of field that made that film come alive for me, and not just spears and shit coming at my face. So if it's going to lead to something great, then fine. But if all we're doing is just putting on goggles and that's all it's ever going to be, then I do kind of wish they would just stop and go back to what they're good at and that I don't have to pay extra for.
And now, from this point forward, everybody can weigh in. But I kind of felt, I kind of agree with you. I'm glad that at least 3D has taken the initiative to get away from the whole shit flying at your face, Friday the 13th feel, where it's just like cheap scares and, oh my God, a rake fell at me or a cat jumped at me, that kind of shit. Where they're actually going to a 3D plane where it feels like you're in the scene, like you're in the field, you're in wherever space. I'm kind of for that if they can film it in 3D. I agree that the post-resolution is not working. Post-processing is not working.
Yeah, it's really ending up just looking bad. I mean, like literally, it's darker. Things are kind of segmented out in ways that just look artificial. Because like when Avatar, the one thing that really legitimized Avatar for me was that like rounded edges looked round, and like in a way that wasn't coming at you. It just actually gave dimension to the scene. Whereas a lot of stuff, it's like kind of flat, almost a cardboard cutout laid on top of each other kind of way, and it doesn't look 3D really. It just looks like a fake effect somebody put together to make it look like it was 3D.
From what I understand, though, isn't the darkness something that the theaters can compensate for by turning up the brightness of their bulbs? And it's not necessarily a problem with the 3D, but more just that from what I understand, and this is all just hearsay from people who say they know what they're talking about, that the bulbs used in 3D films is perhaps more expensive. And so they turn down the brightness to extend the lifespan.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, the problem also...
if they didn't do that, then they'd look better.
In addition to that, too, it's the fact that you're basically wearing sunglasses while you're watching a movie. I mean, like, it's, those dark glasses don't help. And I think, and anything that kind of is more higher quality than that is usually expensive. And, of course, they're not going to spend money on us. They'd rather get our money, from us. So that's the other problem is they're not going to spend the money to make that experience better, at least right now.
Well, and us older folks, I can remember going to a movie theater to see 3D, and the shit was in red and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then shit kind of got that what do you call it? The lenticular kind of look to it. The new 3D.
This is not dictionary.com.
The new 3D looks head and shoulders better than any 3D I saw back in the 80s and 90s. So in that regard, it is getting better, and hopefully it will continue to get better.
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, it's they're off to a good start, and I hope that the companies that are converting their movies just to squeeze out a couple extra bucks out of us realize that they're not doing us any favors.
They are doing that a lot.
It's just film it in 3D. I'll pay the extra money to go see it if it's done right, but I'm not going to watch whatever movie, fill in the blank here, just because it says 3D.
Yeah, I'm
just not.
I agree with that, 100%. Just because I don't feel like the price until they start shooting stuff, if the trend actually happens where they're shooting stuff in 3D, and it's a different kind of level of quality than we've been getting. Because I don't think the prices generally justify a 3D over a 2D screening at all.
Right. I've seen a couple of movies
with
the converted versus the the filmed, and you're right that it's darker. It just doesn't there's a couple of parts that are kind of neat, and then but it just doesn't feel right. You don't feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, I always walk out going, why did I just blow a bunch of money on that shitty experience compared to going to something else and not even having to think about it because it wasn't because it's always been a negative to me. It feels like it's wasting money.
Yep.
And you all kind of go in going, this is going to be one that looks cool, and you always leave and go, that didn't really add anything.
I will add one thing.
For that extra money, I could have got the big ass tub of popcorn.
There you go. Yeah,
with lots of butter.
I will throw in one thing that 3D on a regular theater as opposed to going to see IMAX does make a difference. And I saw Tron Legacy in 3D. And
it was beautiful, wasn't it?
It looked so gorgeous. And I mean,
It
granted,
sucked so bad.
It wasn't a great movie.
I liked it.
I liked it too. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. They did the Wizard of Oz thing with that movie, where it was in 2D until they go to the digital world, and then it was 3D, and then back to 2D once they go there.
You know what? But it sucked all the way through. I'm just saying. It's pretty. Where's the story?
But the
it's
IMAX
pretty.
does make a difference because even though you're wearing glasses but the picture quality is still so good even when you're wearing those glasses. I'm not even making it up. It was crystal clear, and the screen is so large that it's all the way out to your peripheral, so you feel like you were in that world, watching it from the world instead of watching it from the theater seat, and that really did make a difference, and I liked it a lot. That said, I don't want to pay $15-$20 to go see a movie. You know what I mean? I'll do that for a special one, like Tron or I can't think of anything else.
Transformers, Avatar.
I actually planned to go see Transformers in IMAX, and I didn't, and I kind of regret it.
I haven't seen it. I didn't see it in 3D, but I heard the 3D on that is actually pretty impressive. And that one was filmed in 3D.
I think where 3D has come now, as opposed to where it was in the 70s and 80s, like Justin was saying, this is more of an echo of what you're saying. But 3D then was stuff coming out at you and startling you. 3D now is more like it going the opposite way, like you feel like you can reach into the screen, and it's giving it depth instead.
I would agree with that,
and I do like that a lot. And they're even, I just like Ryan said, I don't want to wear glasses. And I don't know if it's possible to do it without glasses. I mean, they're doing it on the video game front with 3DS, but
you just can't help yourself.
I can't help myself.
I swear to God, you can't help yourself.
But
I'm going to give you a fucking muzzle, and I'm going to shock you every time you do it. Every time you mention a video game,
one of those little Bart collars.
Glasses free 3D, man. I mean, if they can do it in that, why can't they do it in a theater?
I don't know. Mike, you're kind of in the production area. Is there anything in the front?
You mean in terms of new technology, or are you talking about
in terms of the technology that'll make it so you don't need glasses anymore?
Well, I don't know, because I think that's going to involve new TVs and screens and stuff. Which, I mean, as far as movie theaters go, that's a ways away. And my friend just got that new. Is it Evo 4, the phone that has 3D on it?
Yes.
Because I think that's using the same technology. So that's the first exposure I've had to the glasses 3D stuff. And I know Scott's had a 3DS, so I mean, I don't know if
video game talk.
If Ryan, it happens to be the the device. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah, there you go. Good call.
Regardless,
it's okay for him to do it, not me.
Mike can do it because Mike's actually making an argument. He's not just wanting to say the word video game in a fucking podcast.
I'm not really impressed. I mean, I'm impressed in terms of like that we're getting around to that actually working, but I think practically we're still way behind it being, something that I would actually spend money on. Because, I mean, like, you have to hold it so specifically and stuff. And I think that's the biggest problem with the theater is only people in the center would really get the best view. But I will say this is why I kind of push the big idea of, like, people need to make this stuff from the content side better. And I think we'll all benefit from it as an audience because, and I've told this before on the other podcast, but I think it's more relevant here that I was in Vegas at the National Association of Broadcasting Convention, and Sony was showing off just days worth of their new TV channel and 3D TVs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're really the people pushing this technology probably harder than anybody else. And being there and you're like the president of the company's there, I mean, it's like the biggest, it's a big event. So they're showing their best, like there was the theater I was working in was like lined with their new 3D TVs. They had a big 3D projector and everybody's using glasses. And it really, to me, as I was sitting there with the guys that are making the decisions to make films like this, and like I've told a story about one of the, after a golf thing, which, by the way, I don't like watching golf on TV even remotely, and I just recently started liking baseball on TV. So I mean, as far as like, it totally sold me on when I saw some golf in 3D and saw that there was dimension and it was shot right and they used the right techniques and everything. That was legitimized, and then there was an NBC executive walking out who was like, hey, we should totally order some of these cameras that look great and everything. So I mean, when you see the best quality stuff, you really start to understand like there is a potential for this. The problem seems to be that the studios are trying as hard as they can to not spend the money and time on that because, hey, if we can get people to spend $12 on it or, $10 extra on a ticket and just all we have to do is upgrade the, quality of whatever we're doing, the process to make it 3D, why bother? But what's good though is that because I was seeing at the upper levels and they are showing off the best quality stuff, that maybe that's just, as we get down the road, they'll, like the executives will start to kind of, and people making the decisions will start to expect a bit higher quality, and hopefully that will trickle down to us.
Oh, that was very well thought out, actually.
But I think what he's saying is to answer your question: is it a trend or a fad? No, I don't think it's a fad. I think it's something definitely here to stay.
But one of the things that I wanted to bring up was that domestically, now overseas is another story. It's actually extremely large overseas. 60% of all revenues come from 3D. In the international market.
Really?
It's a true story. Of anything that's 3D, 60% of it comes back as 3D revenue. The other 40% comes back as 2D. Now, domestically, we were actually at that point for a while, and then, of course, every fucking kids movie comes out in 3D, and every other movie is, like, adjusted for 3D, which is post-processing, which means it was filmed in a two-dimensional and then converted. That actually has dropped pretty low for us. We're actually around, like, 45%. The only time it ever jumps to 60% anymore for 3D is when it's actually filmed. So apparently people do pay attention to that. Besides, like, people like us that actually are kind of geeks or nerds or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the general public, I think, actually pays attention to that.
Well, and what's interesting, too, is that kids' films in particular are usually, animated. And animated stuff is easily the stuff that looks the best in 3D because it's already, you don't have to necessarily change the process because you're already rendering stuff. So you can render it in 3D. It already has geometry to it. So it already looks better, and I think, and kids will see the Smurfs. Hell, that was like number 2 at the box office or whatever. So I mean, all you have to do is throw those things into 3D. They already look better, and that's also sort of almost the problem is because kids films are generally, and I'm not saying that all kids films are shit, but I also used to work in a movie theater, so working at a movie theater when the kids films are there is not a great experience. But I think
but that's because children are horrible, and they should all be put down. Early.
Put down?
Put down.
But I think that it contributes to this idea of, like, we don't have to spend time on this because they'll watch anything. We'll just throw it in 3D and they'll sit there and drool and not think about it. Whereas, we have to kind of force them to think about it.
That's a good point. That's actually a very good argument. I also think it's kind of here to stay. I think it was a fad. It's been a fad many times before, but this has seemed to be a long ongoing thing. I don't think 3D TVs are going to take off. I really don't. I have seen nothing to convince me of that.
It looked pretty good, though. Have you seen the glasses?
I don't know a single person that wants to buy one and then have to plug their fucking sunglasses in. I don't really
No,
see
my brother has one that uses the same glasses as the movies do. Looks fantastic.
I honestly, and remember, and like I said, I saw the highest end ones when I was in Vegas. I mean, you got to see some of the best stuff, and especially like the specific programming they have. I mean, if it was cheap, I don't care about wearing some glasses if I don't have to pay a bunch of money to do it. It looked really cool. I mean, and sports, man. If you haven't seen some really good sports in 3D yet, oh man, I mean, I have to say, I was very skeptical before I saw it, and once that stuff starts rolling out and becomes normal, I have no problem wearing glasses. I mean, but it's all really an economical thing. I don't want to also spend a ton of money on it. I think that's the bigger issue.
I mean, that's my thing. I looked at it at Best Buy briefly. I mean, I'm not in the market for a 3D TV by any means, but I was walking around and saw, I mean, so you're looking at a couple grand for a TV, and then you're looking at another. You have to buy a special 3D capable Blu-ray player, and then you also have to buy the glasses at about $100 to $200 a pop, and it's, all of a sudden you've spent for a $2,000 TV, $2,000 TV, you've spent another $1,000 just on the gear, so you can watch it.
Yeah, but DirecTV comes with
that's just
3D programs.
Yeah, I mean, but DirecTV has got what, 5 channels?
But that was the same thing with high def once upon a time.
Very good point.
But everybody doesn't have DirecTV. I mean, most people have cable.
These suckers.
I mean, I know it. I love my DirecTV, and maybe we should talk to them about sponsorship at this point. But but
I'm open to it.
They have a lot of they have a lot of great content, and they've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 3D channels, which is more than anybody else, I'm sure. But again, forking out that right now, it's not cost effective for me to fork out that kind of money.
If someday I can feel like Tony Romo's throwing me a pass, I might just be sold.
But the thing is, like Brian said, you got to pay for the glasses. I like to watch sports with a group of people. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't like to sit and watch a sports game or football game or baseball game with like one other person.
Yeah, how sad would that be?
I'll be damned
Like
if
I said, the one my brother bought uses the same glasses you get at the movies. You could take those home, and that's what they work. You don't plug them into anything.
Yeah.
So you're recommending we steal them? Is what you're saying?
Yes. Okay. Fuck them. You paid that ticket price. Take that shit home.
I mean, Scott, I should probably preface what I was saying earlier about that, there being a potential. It's definitely not the kind of climate where it's going to be practical, but I mean, imagine a world where that stuff's it's like $10 for a pair of glasses. I mean, if you had a whole room full of people with glasses on, no one's really going to care that much. Right. I mean, if you'd seen some of like the best stuff, and if you haven't seen it, honestly, go to a Best Buy and check out their better TVs. It's pretty cool. I mean, you will be pretty blown away by, I think, how much it's starting to add. Because that's really what 3D, the argument with 3D is, how much does this add to my experience? Mm-hmm. And originally, it was just a gimmick, and it was like, it added the gimmick, and then after you've seen the gimmick, it didn't care anymore. It's getting to the point where, like I said, I don't care at all about golf. I just don't care. I like driving range. I like, that's all I like about golf. But when I was sitting in that theater and watching them do a live golf broadcast in 3D, and granted, it was a huge screen, but there were smaller screens on the side, and I went, wow. Not only is this, like, you can see down the fairway, there's depth, and, like, the scenery looks cool, and it adds this layer of immersion that you do not get at all without this experience. That's when I started to realize there is value to this. It's just that how much money are they going to charge for that value? And I think right now it's not feasible to really make a realistic sort of casual plug to the viewing public. But I think I could see it 5 years down the line, or if not even further down, because I don't know, how much this stuff costs to make, that I really think people will start to realize that value. And I could totally see us 10 years from now all having 3D TVs. Like, no question.
Remember how much HD TVs used to cost compared to now? It's night and day. I could see the same thing for 3D.
I'm just not seeing as much popularity from people. Like, people now are not getting as excited about 3D as they were getting excited for HD back when HD was just as expensive as 3D is now.
HD is kind of easier to convert. I mean, it's easy to get an HD camera and shoot in HD, and you have HD. With 3D, there's so much more involved in the processing and the post-production and stuff that it's expensive for the content providers to actually, bring that to us. And I think that's the part where they don't really want to pull the trigger on that if they don't have to. And I think once they start to do that and people are like, oh, like I was saying, if there were people in that room that I was in that were seeing this stuff and seeing kind of what it can do, they would be more, we're just getting so much shit, really, that, we shouldn't be getting excited about this. What we're getting a lot of the time is stuff that we really shouldn't be excited about. But I guess my argument would be that once you see what this can really offer and it's done right, it's awesome. I mean, it really is.
Cool.
And I think that's kind of why you see the company's pushing it so much, and the executives being really excited about it, is because that's all they ever see is the good stuff. They don't see the bullshit we're seeing.
Right.
And I think that's the problem right there.
All right. Well, I think we can all agree. It's apparently we're all in agreement. It's going to be real. It's here to stay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. We all have our hands in the air.
I do think that they will. Never mind. Actually, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of movie theaters, though, I think they'll always have that 2D alternative just for people that physically cannot handle 3D because, some people get sick or they can't see it. There's actually a weird eye thing, I guess, where people actually cannot see that image in 3D. That's just the only thing I was going to throw in, is I think that 2D will also not go away because 3D is here.
I wonder if those people also get poked in the eye a lot, because they just don't see it coming. You know what I mean?
They live in a 2D world.
They would make horrible porn stars. I'm so blind. I'm so blind.
I don't even know what to say to that.
You know it's true. All right. Okay, moving on. We're leaving the film world and going to home video, DVD, Blu-ray. If you don't own a Blu-ray player, then you've never seen Avatar correctly.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, don't get the fuck out, because of the 4 people that are listening, I don't want to make it
second
one
show, dude.
Yeah. For
we
some
have
people,
2 listeners. We don't want to.
For some people, it's the first show.
It's like we get half of our listeners by one comment.
So coming out, which already actually came out this week. This week was Soul Surfer, which actually I've heard of a pretty good movie. While you're down in it, it's a good little young girls movie, motivational.
Young girls in bikinis.
Young girl gets her arm bitten off, and she rises to the occasion to become a surfer.
I don't care about surfing.
With her soul.
Is that the Helen Hunt involved in that one somehow?
I think she's the mom. Maybe she's the mom. And she looks horrible. Just horrible. She looks like Helen Hell. Hell and Hunt. You look like hell. Rio, which is a cartoon that was about dancing birds. So Brian,
Can I say something about that real quick?
It's a good Angry Birds
really?
version.
That's the one you want to interject to make a statement about?
Well,
Absolutely.
I'll explain why. I had a very personal... So I met the people that made that movie, actually.
The Birds?
They're also... Yeah, no, Rio. Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of a different movie. Never mind. Keep going.
Were you thinking of Blame It on Rio? Because that was before you were born.
I'm thinking of Rango, which is...
That's a totally different movie.
We talked about that last week. Again.
Check the pilot.
Did you really meet the people that made Rango, though?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Personally.
Did you meet Johnny Depp?
They worked on Star Wars and Pirates, and they have Oscars. It was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool they went to ILM to have that done and not, a more traditional, maybe, animation house.
That looked good. The movie looked good. I just wish I enjoyed it more. I turned it off halfway
Rango?
through. Yeah.
I loved it.
I thought it was very clever, actually.
The only thing I was going to say about it is I think that the philosophy of making animated films that aren't necessarily aimed at kids and all that stuff in this day and age is a good thing, and I want to see more of it.
When are we going to get a CGI heavy metal?
I don't know. You'd think that they would do that after all, the remakes and let's take this old IP and make it into a movie.
You'd think, yeah.
So
weren't they talking about that actually?
I knew they did a Heavy Metal 2, but it was still animated. I don't know about a CG version.
Do you want to see a cartoon guy doing splits so you can look at his ass too?
Maybe. Maybe.
In 3D.
What?
In 3D?
Wow.
Oh, fuck yeah. Sold.
Also, Danny McBride's One Trick Pony Show, Eastbound and Down, Season 2's on.
Oh, but it's still just one trick, but it's funny as shit.
That show is funny as hell.
I just downloaded them all on iTunes for Season 2.
You must at the very least, if you don't watch a show, go on YouTube and find the clip where he comes out for the Mexican Baseball League, and his entrance.
Is his girlfriend in Season 2?
I can't remember, honestly.
The chick from the first season, because she was oddly hot.
I think so, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, she's on a show on CBS right now, so she might not be on there.
I honestly don't remember. But there's a clip that if you go find it, where he comes out to the Hulk Hogan theme song. I am a real, and you got to find it. It's pretty funny. Next week, or probably when you end up listening to this, Your Highness comes out, which is a Danny McBride movie, ironically, which I've heard is horrible.
I don't care. Natalie Portman's in it. Yeah. I'm seeing it.
Natalie Portman has been in several bad movies.
Yeah, but she...
Did Natalie Portman's ass in this one?
I doubt it's
No, it was a stunt double. I actually remember reading about that. It wasn't actually her ass double, actually, I should say.
I can imagine it is.
I wish I had an ass double. Don't you?
You have a double ass.
I do. It is rather large. High five to you, dickhead. Mars Needs Moms, which is
the worst title since fucking Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yeah.
Who wants to watch a movie about moms? Really?
No, I did.
Moms?
Wait.
If it's called MILFs.
Earlier tonight, before the show started, I was watching a movie about moms, and it was fine. I'm just saying. It was perfectly fine.
What movie
Did it
was
have mom in the title, though? For me, that is where it failed.
It had mom in the title, but it was more like a clip. It wasn't an entire movie. It was more like about 12 minutes. And
the mom, I was about to go on a real porn
Naughty
direction,
MILF
sorry.
4?
Yeah, something like that. And my pick of all of these is Paul.
I missed that in theaters.
Yeah, too.
Have you seen that? Who's seen that?
I saw it. I went and saw it in the theater. I actually didn't think it was great, but I think it's good enough to warrant a checking out.
They marketed it like it was just silly as hell. But I've heard that it's actually better than it looks.
It's actually pretty funny, and it's Edgar. Well, it's not actually Edgar Wright. It's what's his name?
Oh, it's just Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
Thank you, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, and Seth Rogen plays an alien that they find, and they're very much total geeks. I think they're going to Comic-Con, and they come across this alien. The alien needs help getting out of U.S. and everything. It's never the world. It's just the U.S.
Wouldn't it have made sense?
But it's very Spielbergian with foul language. Like they're very much
Spielbergian.
They have so many references to Spielberg's work in that movie. It's obviously that they were Spielberg fans, except it has foul language.
Wouldn't it have made sense for them to release this like 2 weeks ago when Comic-Con was here? Wouldn't that have made...
Dude, do you know how many people know that Comic-Con is out? 50,000 nerds, and maybe like 100,000 people worldwide. It does not bring people to the masses.
They also had to sit on that movie for a long time, because I remember they were making it like a year and a half ago, and they already kind of wanted to wait till closer to a summer release or something like that anyway, and then they never ended up doing it because they were just like, we need to push this out. So I think it was just bad timing on the schedule, probably.
I didn't even know when it came out. I didn't hear until it was already going out of theaters that it had come out.
It didn't make much. It made like a little under $40 million, but I liked it. I mean, it's a great rental. I wouldn't buy it, but it's a great rental.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I'll check it out.
And we'll do more of what's coming up when we do the next
This
show.
actually reminds me of another movie that's in limited release that came out this week that I guess we didn't talk about earlier, but have anybody else heard of Attack the Block? It's Edgar Wright's
I've heard of
new
that.
movie. I heard really good stuff about that. I don't know if it's how wide it's releasing, but I heard that starts this weekend, I think.
Do you know, Scott and I, we actually had an invite to go to that one, and we couldn't make it work.
That was
I would love to see
the one
that.
with the alternate universe or whatever?
No, it was this is a different one, but it was Attack of the Block I think it's produced by Edward Wright. Is that right?
No, he directed it. It's his film, and
Oh,
it's
did
got
you?
Nick Frost. Nick Frost produced it, and
Nick
Edgar
Frost
Wright
produced
directed it.
Okay, thank you. Look at that, Mike's got me. He's got my back.
Sorry, I didn't watch the pilot. I was too busy checking new stuff.
Touche.
Being
Nice job. And you know what? I'm actually a little rusty because I've been too busy doing Scott's fucking shit. So, okay.
So this is all Scott's fault.
Yeah, ultimately it always is. We're going to move on to a segment that I like to call Flashback DVD / Blu-ray, if you can find it on Blu-ray. But essentially what this is going to be is I want everybody that does listen to the show, both of you, to be able to leave here and have some choices for movies to watch that maybe you haven't heard of or you just never thought of. Maybe you thought sounded horrible, but we're telling you, hey, give it a shot. So all of us are going to be able to give you one of our personal, probably most likely favorites that you may not have heard of in the past. Now, some people that didn't end up on the show chose some interesting title, and I kind of wish that I can't wait when that does come up. But each one of us is going to take about a minute and a half, and kind of pitch what the movie is. And then we might have some conversation about it. But ultimately, that person is pitching you the movie. So they're basically doing the trailer for you, letting you know what the movie's about and why you should check it out. And hopefully with 5 of us, there's going to be 5 different choices. One of them might appeal to somebody. So with that, I'll go to Mike first.
My film came out in 2006. It's a French film, actually. And maybe the best French film I've ever seen. It's called Tell No One, at least that's the English name. And the story is essentially about a guy who's a doctor. I think he's a pediatrician, and he's played by an actor named Francois. I think it's Cluzet. I don't speak French, so if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. But he looks just like Dustin Hoffman. Really, it blows my mind.
He does.
Really?
The whole movie, I keep thinking it's Dustin Hoffman. But anyway, it's a thriller, probably, and thriller is probably my favorite genre of film. I mean, you get to do a good thriller, you've got me. And this one is one of the best I've just totally floored me when I first saw it. It's about a guy who his wife had been murdered by a serial killer, probably a year prior to when it takes place, or a couple of years before or something. But he's just kind of living through his life, and there's like on the anniversary of the day that she was murdered, he starts getting these emails referencing things that only his wife would be emailing him about. And then eventually he gets a link to a video of a camera on a subway or some sort of, public camera. And then for a split second, he sees who he thinks is his wife. And from that point on, it starts to kind of go some pretty crazy places. And it's a film that it has kind of a Hitchcock feel in terms of the way that it's written, and sort of a North by Northwest kind of, it's about this guy trying to get to this place and just all the twists and turns that it takes. But this film is one of those movies that just when you think it's going to go one way, it goes another way, and just totally had me. And every time I've shown this movie to somebody, that they just absolutely have to know what happens kind of thing. It's a great movie. And it's a film that has its very serious, it's a very kind of, it's got layers and layers, but at the same time, emotionally, I think the relationship between him and the wife, as you find out more about them in the movie, really drives the plot forward. And you really start to get behind this guy and this main character, and you want to know, like, did he see his wife or not? Is somebody messing with this guy? And then eventually people start chasing him, and I won't say who it is and why, but he's sort of running at the same time as he's trying to find everything, and the momentum putting forward kind of with the emotional depth of the relationship and how much it would mean for him to find his wife really, is what makes this film what it is, and I would absolutely recommend it. If you like thrillers even remotely, you have to see it.
I saw this as well, and I'd recommend it. I actually watched it on Mike's recommendation several months ago. It's good.
Really? Is it on Netflix, or
it
is it
on Instant Play?
Is it? It's on Instant Play.
I don't know if it still is because I haven't had it in a while, but
it's pretty cheap on DVD because I remember seeing it at a place like in the bargain bin kind of thing, and I was like, oh, it's a shame because it's a fantastic film.
It really is pretty good.
And I actually looked at, because I'm privy to everybody's movie before the show, and I looked at everybody's, and that looks really interesting. I'm not usually one for subtitles, just because I'm an American. I don't like to think, and I sure the fuck don't like to read. Brian, you can understand what I'm saying.
It is on instant streaming, by the way. I just checked.
Okay.
Sweet.
And for the record, I did tell you to watch it back when Mike told me to watch it, and you said
I really don't listen to anything you say.
I know, except for Portal 2.
So because Scott, and I gotta tell you, I'm really interested in what Scott has to say, because it's probably a video game movie, right? Is it like Resident Evil and shit?
No. I mean, Mike summed it up. I watched it strictly on blind recommendation from Mike, just because I was curious about what kind of movies he liked. This is like actually when we started becoming friends early on, and I just watched it off the cuff. I gave him a weird recommendation, he gave me a weird recommendation, and we both wound up liking them. So
I will tell
real quick thing about just what you were saying, Aaron, because you were talking about subtitles. There's a dub version of it, and I've heard, and I personally don't like dub anyway. I mean, that's just me, but I've heard that specifically the dub version of this film is terrible. So I would think you should watch on subtitles regardless. But
I can watch some movies, like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I watched with subtitles, and it ended up not bothering me at all. But some movies, it becomes a very annoying, especially if it's action heavy, or you really need to pay attention to the camera angles and whatnot. If it's very story driven, subtitles are fine. But when it's something that it flows very action-y, camera-oriented, where you have to pay attention. Yeah,
that's a good example.
There you go.
Crouching Tiger was the same way.
Yeah, very hard to follow subtitled movies then, because I got to read it and keep an eye on what's going on. It's hard to do. But great recommendation. That's what I was I was segueing when I was saying that Scott has shitty taste. So let's find out what it is. Max Payne? What is it?
No, I actually.
Oh, shit. That movie sucked. Ugh.
Well, I didn't know what Mike's pick was going to be before I selected mine, so I unfortunately picked a foreign film as well.
Oui.
So no, mine's not French. Mine's boy, I should have read this better.
We'll just go with not American.
With Asian.
Okay.
Mine is a film called Old Boy. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Oh man, that's a good movie.
That would be Hong Kong, I believe.
Is it Hong Kong?
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie that I can't recommend enough. It's a little weird, but they do some things.
The ending is so fucked up.
I know.
It's a pretty fucking crazy movie.
They do some stuff
in this. In a good way.
Oh, come on, let him do his pitch. This is his 90 seconds.
They do
tell
some.
me.
Well, you guys have already seen the movie, so this is for everybody else that hasn't. This is a movie about a guy that gets imprisoned in what looks like a hotel room for about 15 years. He has no idea why. He has no idea who has captured him and holding him there. And he's on the borderline of insanity when he finally figures out a way to escape, and then spends the next 5 days trying to figure out who has imprisoned him and why. and then he meets some interesting characters and some jacked up things happen. I've only have like 60 or 90 seconds to tell this story, but I can tell you that it does get really interesting. And this movie has one of the best one-shot fight scenes I've ever seen in a movie in my entire life. I don't know if you guys have seen it, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, tracking shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That scene was just so awesome. I actually, the first time I watched it, went back and watched it over again just to see, because it was so well done. And just, one guy versus the world type of thing, which normally doesn't work, and it worked in this movie. Like I mentioned, it does a little weird, or it is a little weird, and does some pretty pushing the envelope things as far as story towards the end that some people may be a little uncomfortable with. But it's one of those movies that I go into a movie because I said this on the last podcast, or on the first podcast. I like seeing something that I've never seen before, and this kind of fits that bill perfectly. So I really recommend it. Again, it's subtitled. But this isn't super action heavy. The action sequences don't have any dialogue, so it works out well. And there is one shot of the main character when he's going crazy in the hotel room that just made me laugh the first time I saw it too. You'll know.
I would say that's a cult classic. Actually, that's a great movie for somebody that's not watched something a little less than mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Like if generally all you watch is standard, standard shit at the theater, then this is one that you might want to seek out because it's going to expand your horizons in odd ways.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
it's
what really
also
sucks
available
is
networks, Netflix streaming too.
Yes,
he's our Netflix guy.
They're making an American remake. They're making an American remake
Jones.
with what's his name? He's in everything.
They're going to be Jeremy Renner?
Will Smith. No, it's going to be Will Smith and Spike Lee, I believe, is the person that they want to I'm not making this up because it sounds like something like, what, those two? But, yeah, I think that's going to be a disaster. So I think you should see this movie before that even is close to out because I think that whatever they got out of it's such a crazy Korean vision. And actually, I've watched a lot of Korean films lately, and I think really they're some of the most ambitious directors and filmmakers and writers I've seen in a while.
Wasn't Audition Korean?
Yes, Odd Boy is Korean.
No. Audition. Wasn't Audition Korean?
Audition. Sorry, that was the Skype thing. I have not seen Audition, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
My brother would
But
know
I think whatever interesting, innovative things they did with Old Boy, they're probably going to screw up somehow in the American version because I can't see them making the same film in America.
Especially with the stuff towards the end. I just can't imagine them doing that here.
I've seen it. You've seen it. Justin's seen it. Mike's seen it. Brian, have you seen it?
No, I haven't. It's been sitting on my Netflix deal for quite a while.
Check it out. I'd be interested to hear what you think of it, Brian.
Yeah.
I definitely will.
I expect to hear what you think when we come back the next time. That's what I think. How's that?
Oh, I got homework?
Yep. There's your challenge. Watch Old Boy.
You got it.
Justin, you are next because I thought your pick was a different movie that had a certain pop star in it, and apparently, thank God, it wasn't.
It is not. Yeah, no, my pick is a movie came out in 1986, and I don't know if I'd classify it as a guilty pleasure or not. I guess it depends. It's certainly not of the same cinematic quality as the two films that have already been mentioned, but my pick is a film called Crossroads. And no, not the Britney Spears Crossroads. Like I said, 86. And this is a movie stars a young Ralph Macchio. It came out the same year that Karate Kid 2 came out. And Ralph Macchio plays a prodigy guitar player or guitar student at Juilliard who, while being fantastically good at playing classical guitar, has a real deep love and appreciation for blues guitar. And in the opening of the movie, you get some of the story about Robert Johnson. And I don't know how familiar you guys are, but the story of Robert Johnson going to the crossroads, selling his soul to the devil to become a fantastic blues player. And, he went on to do 29 songs, didn't finish his 30th song before he died. And Ralph Macchio is kind of on a little quest to find out what that song is, which leads him to discovering an old black guy in kind of a prison hospital, conveniently close to Juilliard, which is where Ralph Macchio goes to school. And Ralph Macchio breaks him out of jail because the old guy, playing a character called Willie Brown, tells him that if he gets him back down to Mississippi, he'll teach him that 30th song. And, like I said, it's not a fantastic movie. But it's a movie that I love for several reasons. One, I love blues guitar. I'm a big blues fan. But more than that, I'm just a fan of guitar work in general, whether it's classical guitar, rock guitar, blues, whatever, country guitar. If they play the instrument well, I'm going to be there. And so the whole film is filled with blues music, little country music. And I'm not going to spoil the ending, but when you get to the ending of the film, you actually get to see kind of a guitar battle of sorts between Ralph Macchio's character and a character played by Steve Vai. And again, I don't know who knows who Steve Vai is, but he is an amazingly brilliant rock guitarist and guitarist in general. But it's a really fun movie. It's available, again, on Netflix streaming, just like the other two were. I recommend that if you like blues, if you like guitar, give it a watch. It's a fun movie, and you'll get to hear some really, really good music. Probably the biggest surprise of it, though, is watching Ralph Macchio play guitar, whether it's blues or classical. He's not actually playing the guitar, but if you watch him, you almost couldn't tell because and from reading other things and looking into the movie, he put a lot of work into at least looking convincing, and he looks convincing. Steve Vai actually plays a lot of his guitar in the movie, but I really love it. It's a lot of fun, and so that's why I'm recommending it on this little segment.
I think we just found a movie for Corey Powers to watch.
Yeah, we got a friend that's really into music. I've actually seen that movie, and it's a very good movie. I saw it a long time ago, though. And I will tell you, true story, I saw the Britney Spears Crossroads in the theater because my daughter begged me to go, and that's why I was scared to death. That's the one you picked. Because I'm like, I can't, there's no way in hell I'm going to revisit that thing twice. I'm sorry.
My appreciation for Glee does not lend itself to Britney Spears movies.
Well, I thought that was a great choice and a very interesting choice. I think that was an interesting choice.
Thanks.
Good movie. Brian Williams.
Yeah, close your eyes unless you're driving listening to this. By all means, just improvise. But you wake up and you're tied to a chair, and
this is happening.
You don't know how. Yeah, I know this sounds like Friday night for you, but still, for the rest of us who live somewhat normal lives, you wake up. You kind of wake up, and you're in some like warehouse or just some building that's it's totally locked down. You got about 4 or 5 other people there with you. You're stuck. You're in the middle of nowhere. No recollection. You just got no idea how you got there. What happened, what led up to it, what's about to happen, and that's kind of what this movie is. It's called Unknown. Now, there was one recently that came out with Liam Neeson, and I haven't seen it, but I don't think it's got anything to do with this one.
Absolutely not. I've seen it. So.
But this was apparently 2006 was a good year for movies because this was another 2006 movie, and basically Jim Caviezel, he wakes up and he's tied to a chair, and he's got about 3 or 4, I think 4, maybe 5 other people there in the building with him, and they're all basically in the same mindset. They don't know how they got there, what happened, what's going on. But as the movie starts to get into it, you kind of realize that some people are good, some people are bad. There's a mysterious phone call. Jim Caviezel he kind of fumbles his way through it, and he gets a little bit of information. He's not sure what to do with it. He doesn't know if he's supposed to be receiving that call or if that call was for somebody else. And it's almost kind of like Reservoir Dogs, or even Saw, in the fact that you don't know what's going on. You don't know who's who, and who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. And of course, as the movie goes along, it plays out. But it's really good because it really kind of keeps you just kind of wondering, what's happening? Who is this guy? How did he get here? Why is he here? Is he good? Is he a bad guy? And anything that like that, it kind of keeps me guessing. I love. So it was one that I stumbled upon. I think a rental, a few years back, and it stuck with me as just one of those that you have a number of actors in this movie that you just didn't know that they would do this. Greg Kinnear is in it. Like I said, Jim Caviezel, Bridget Moynihan, Barry Pepper. So, but anyway, good cast, good story. It's just one of those, gems, hidden gems you kind of stumble upon every now and then.
And I will actually chime in because when Brian first told me this, and I knew it wasn't the Liam Neeson one because that's even a little too recent. But I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, oh, I think I kind of know it. And then I realized I've actually seen this before. I saw it when first came to video, because I think it was one of those where it got a very limited release and then went kind of straight to video.
Right.
It is a really, really good movie. I just had to see the plot synopsis and everything to remember what it was, and it's very clever, and it is very much a Reservoir Dogs feel. So I would say if anybody's a fan of that style of film, or the mystery, or another one that I would compare it to would be, what was the hotel one with John Cusack?
Identity.
1608.
No.
Yeah.
Identity.
No, Identity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has elements of that, and like I said, maybe Saw or Reservoir Dogs. That
It reminds me of. Oh, sorry. Good.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
It reminds me of Cube, actually. Well, I'm a big sucker, actually, for any time it's like, we're all here, why are we here?
Yeah, me too.
Where is this going? What I'm always, and you're making the recommendation, so I'm not necessarily worried in this case, but what generally worries me about these movies is, like, what's the payoff? Because at the end of the day, like, it can ruin the movie if it's like, oh, and it was all a dream, which obviously, most movies don't do anymore. And me and Justin were just talking about Lost earlier, and I mean, like, what always got me really into Lost was, okay, where are they? What's going on? What can they learn from just kind of everybody else that's there? And that's always a great sort of platform for writers to really do some fun character stuff. So I love that idea. The first thing that I thought of was Cube. Like, I was picturing something like Saw or Cube, where, especially when you were saying, like, you're just tied up in a chair or whatever it is. So, I mean, just right there, I was like, that's cool. Like, every time, that's always a good way to grab somebody in a movie.
And I would say, contrary to Identity, because I will say it's very similar in atmosphere to Identity, if anybody saw that. And I only mentioned that one because I know that one was kind of popular at the time. But I thought the payoff was kind of shit in Identity. I really thought, most people thought, oh, that's clever, but I thought it was kind of half-assed. I really wanted the murder mystery. And I think Unknown kind of pays off the actual story that you get invested in. Okay. It's kind of sad that it didn't get a wider release, to be honest with you.
Was it independent?
Like it was really good.
It was independent, and it's just one of those movies I think that got lost in the shuffle. I think Jim Caviezel, he hadn't quite been Jesus yet, so, or Jesus didn't get him far enough. I don't know which one, but
yeah, but he really does some really. I mean, he'll do something really good, and then he'll do just something totally out off the wall. Like, what was this, Outlander or Outland? Yeah, Outlander, I think it was, where he's like some alien Viking or something. It's just
yeah,
it's horrible. And I'm like, you have enough clout. You could have passed on this. I'm sure
you were Jesus, man.
Exactly. I'm sure you've still got Jesus money left. I mean, you didn't have to do this crappy movie, and
wow.
And I don't know, maybe somebody's got dirty pictures on him or something. I don't know, but he'll do something, good. And I'm a fan of his. I like him, but then he'll just do something totally off the.
I've heard he's extreme. I mean, and obviously he did. And I'm not trying to make a joke when I say this. I'm being totally serious. He is apparently so religious that he actually turns down a lot of projects because they don't meet certain criteria. So
I've heard that. Yeah.
That's to do with it.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian. That was a good pick. We're gonna go into mine. Mine's the last one, which is either good or horrible.
We've been staring at the DVD case for the past 10 minutes, so
I don't want to get anything wrong. My pick is a movie called Savior. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but it's a Dennis Quaid movie, and it's kind of what?
I'm not a fan of Quaid. Go ahead.
Oh, you don't like Dennis Quaid?
I'm not the biggest fan. Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead.
That sucks that you're not an American. The right before Dennis Quaid began his resurgence, I guess you could say, with The Rookie, where he kind of came back. He did a very, very small independent movie, because I'm sure that's probably all he could do, called Savior, which is essentially, he plays a guy named Joshua Rose, who he works for a foreign embassy, for the U.S. He represents the U.S. in a foreign embassy. And what? No, leave it alone. Leave it the fuck alone.
I want to look at it.
He wants to take my DVD case.
Fuck.
Are we still talking about the movie here?
Scott, stop touching my wiener. All right. So basically, he works for the American embassy in a foreign land. Something tragic. It's hard to tell you the details that get him to this point, but there's a horrible thing that happens to him while he's working for the embassy, and it causes him to go on kind of a revenge rampage. Which in turn leads him and a friend who helped get him out of the situation banished for life. They can't go back to America, so they go and they join the Foreign Legion. He basically becomes a force with the Serbs in the Bosnian War, which, that's neither here nor there in terms of the political wranglings of the story. I mean, the story does deal with the Bosnian War and kind of how they see each side. Neither side is really seen as a positive force. They're both very vicious, very, very evil people, at least in terms of the war. But it kind of tries to bring into the forefront the innocent people of the war and the people that are persecuted in any war. So he basically becomes this cold character. He's cold as ice because of the thing that happened to him that I can't really describe because it really is a pretty shocking event, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that actually will check it out. But because of the events, he ends up becoming a very excellent sniper for the Foreign Legion and becomes very cold, very callous, very evil. It's honestly the best acting I've ever seen Dennis Quaid do. Throughout the entire performance, he's dead. His eyes are dead. His soul is dead. I mean, he's basically picking off children because he's told to. He really doesn't understand why. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care about anything. So then he runs across, through a UN prisoner exchange, comes across a pregnant woman that his partner has to take back. They have to take her back to her home. So as they're heading back to her home, his partner ends up basically trying to kill the woman who's pregnant. And it's a very graphically violent scene. It's very disturbing. I mean, he's basically kicking a pregnant woman, and yes, even though she's probably wearing a pillow, it's pretty intense. I mean, my wife had to cover her eyes. It's pretty intense. So because of this situation, he ends up having to kill this guy, which of course in turn creates a what do you call it?
Like a mutiny or something?
No, basically like an escalating of events.
Conflicts.
Yeah, an escalating of events, and he's essentially now he's got this woman, this baby, because of the incident, the baby is forced to be born. Nobody wants this woman because nobody wants this woman because she's violated. This baby is is a product of a Muslim rape. She's just not wanted. I mean, she's got nowhere to go, no one to take care of her or this baby. Her family doesn't want her. He doesn't really want to deal with the situation. I mean, and I think he really plays the story well. And of course, the whole movie is a story of redemption. It's him realizing throughout the course of the movie that he still has a soul, that he can get that soul back. And for Dennis Quaid, and granted, I'm kind of a fan of Dennis Quaid, but most of his movies, he's the same guy in every fucking movie. This is the biggest departure I've ever seen him play, where I actually felt like he's not playing the cocky, sure guy, or he's not playing the stoic guy who just looks into the camera. He was acting in the whole movie. And as the story progresses, then he becomes closer and closer to the woman and her child, and finally starts seeing that, there are people in this war that are suffering, that he's helped cause some of the suffering, that he can get redemption and he can be forgiven for some of the things that he's done. Because early in the movie, he is an evil fucker. I mean, he shoots a kid straight in the chest, just a little kid. Through which events you'll see why he does it as the movie progresses, but it's still no less shocking to see, a pretty famous and outside of Mike's house actor taking the role of assassin and doing it very coldly, and not like as a bad guy, not like as a stereotypical evil person. He's just somebody who lost himself a long time ago, and he's just trying to find his way back. And
sorry.
No, usually this kind of movies don't really work for me because 9 times out of 10 I don't buy their, it's usually one simple event that brings them back, and they're like, oh my god, I found my soul. It's not like that at all. I think it's a very gradual process. It's not like at the end of the movie he's a hero. It's not like that at all. It's an extremely sad, depressing movie. But if you watch it and you take into account the fact that it's very low budget, that it's not highly financed, highly stylized, or anything else. It's a very, very simple, low budget film, and what they're trying to say, I think it might hit a nerve with some people. I just hope that people will check it out.
I got 3 movies I got to watch this week now.
What were you going to say, Mike?
Oh, I was just going to say that, my problem with Dennis Quaid is that I think that he generally plays himself and everything, and that's why. And he's always given projects where, that's totally what they give him to do. So when you started describing this, I was like, this sounds exactly like something I'd want to see him in. So as much as I tend to not like him, I actually think that this is, especially when you're saying this is a big departure from what he normally does. This kind of reminds me of Val Kilmer in Tombstone, where it was like, wow, why can't you do this in every movie? And I think that if this is that movie for him, I would definitely like to check that out.
I can tell you that the reason that I've always liked Dennis Quaid is the cocksure guy that he always plays. well, now he's kind of playing the father figure and stuff, but for the most part of his career, he was the cocksure guy who walked in a room and smiled and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I never bought it. That's my thing. With
Yeah,
Dennis Quaid,
never
personally.
bought it. But this one, he's so stoic, and it's not like the Marky Mark way where, you realize he just doesn't have, he only has 3 facial expressions. In the first part of the movie, you see all stages of what an actor should be doing. He conveys the warmth and heart and smiling and everything else. And then when these events happen, and the tragic event that actually catapults him into the situation he ends up finding himself with the Foreign Legion, he plays it perfect. Because I honestly, it's really hard to describe without explaining it, without spoiling it. But the moment that he snaps, you can tell why he snapped. You get it. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
And when he plays the story and he's dead for so much of the movie, and you still like him even though he's an evil bastard. That says a lot for an actor. It's hard for most actors to pull off.
Man, I really need to see this. Can I borrow that?
Yeah, well, you can.
I read the Netflix rundown of it, and it completely spoils what forces him into the French Foreign Legion.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's right there.
Don't read it.
I already read it, dude. It's already been spoiled.
Don't unread it. But
my favorite Dennis Quaid, I think, is Enemy Mine.
That's an interesting choice. That's a good movie though. But that's kind of the stereotypical Dennis Quaid too.
Inner Space.
Really?
Really?
Jesus Christ!
I watched that movie a lot when I was a kid. I love Inner Space.
Well,
that movie's not that bad.
Guilty
no, it's
pleasure.
not that bad. It's just that's his favorite Dennis Quaid.
No, it's not my favorite. I just have a lot of fun memories as a kid watching that movie.
That's cute. You took away the serious nature of what I was talking about. The Bosnian fucking war. You made
he was in G.I. Joe too.
Yeah.
Well, y'all can kiss my ass. I like Dennis Quaid.
I like Dennis Quaid too. Mike,
he's a Randy Quaid.
Mike's a Randy Quaid fan. He's like, I like all the vacation movies. Fuck that shit.
Can I get some damn bait?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. He never really convinces me. He's like acting. He just seems like he does the same thing over and over again. And I don't know. I mean, that's just me. I don't know.
Well, I recommend giving this one a shot. I think you'd see him in a completely different light.
Is that on Instant Play, Justin? You were on the list a while ago.
It is not.
No,
nor is the movie Unknown.
But you can put them in your queue. And some people, if
you're going to pay the jacked up prices on that.
I think I'm dropping my DVDs after this month, though. So.
Oh Jesus! Let's save that for maybe one of the future ones. Okay, so that's the 5 movies. We have Old Boy. We have Tell No One, the French version, which I think they're remaking that one too, if I read right.
They're writing it still. I think it's a waste away if they're going to do it. So
well, I'll find the French one. Those 2 are on Netflix. Justin's Crossroads on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Instant. Okay. And Brian's is Unknown, and mine is Savior. Those 2 are not on Instant, which I can't imagine everybody has a Netflix Instant. So just put it on your Netflix queue, or maybe check out a Redbox, see if they got one of those 2. With that, that's pretty much it. One thing I want to... well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we didn't have Mike Card on last week when we talked about our favorite 3 movies. Maybe since this is his first show, see what his favorite 3 movies were.
That's true. I meant to do that at the beginning, so good catch at the end of the fucking show. Mike, what are your top 3 movies?
Make them good, because mine kicked ass.
And Brian has 16 of them, apparently.
I feel like my top 3 favorite movies are going to seem cliche. Well, yeah, for the most part, cliche, because my film taste is pretty diverse. I mean, like I said, I've been watching a lot of Korean stuff lately. I don't know a lot of people that do that, but I took a year of film history and all kinds of stuff, so I've seen a lot of things. But my top film, well, I'll start from 3 and go to 1. Number 3 is probably going to be Back to the Future. I just feel like
nice.
Awesome.
Back to the Future is a classic, and if you've ever seen it, you know why. It's such a perfect. The story is perfect. The way they handle it is perfect. The casting's perfect. It's funny. Even though it's a product of its time, it's still timeless at the same time. So, I think that I could watch that all day, and still enjoy it. My number 2 film is also just another kind of no-brainer one. It's Empire Strikes Back. I mean, it's the best Star Wars film. It's
nice.
Great. It kind of defined what the middle of who's the guy that Lucas based all of his writing off of? Like
Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell. It's kind of like defines what Joseph Campbell's sort of middle of his hero arc is, and it's Star Wars. I don't have to explain that if you've ever seen Star Wars.
That was my number 1.
Yeah, and I will give you kudos right there because you said Empire instead of Star Wars, and Star Wars is the easy answer.
Star Wars holds the closer place in my heart, dude.
Well,
I saw it first.
But
I think that the prequels were a tragedy of film in terms of what they could have been, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I don't think every Star Wars film was great. I really only like the original ones. I used to like them when I was a kid, but I was also stupid when I was a kid, so there's that. But my number one film, and it's two films that I condensed to one, and I think you might agree with me when you know what it is. And I think this is probably closer to what my more specific tastes are. And I don't think it's the best film ever made. I think it's my favorite film. I've seen it so many times, and every time I watch it, I learn new things about it. I bought a book that breaks it down. I mean, I just love everything about it, and that would be Kill Bill.
Ooh, yeah.
And I say
Good
one
choice.
film because it was originally written as one film, and I would love to see that. I mean, as somebody who's read the script, I would love to see some of the stuff that wasn't caught in there. But Kill Bill is everything, I think, that defines why Tarantino is such an incredible writer and director. It defines to me what I love about films, which is giving me an experience that I would have never conceived of in my own mind, and sort of broadening my appreciation for other films at the same time, because it's such a sort of homage to so many things. I mean, it's got I think one of the best female characters ever written, if not the best. It's got comedy, it's got some just crazy good action. It's got Tarantino's dialogue, which, I mean, there are scenes in that where you learn so much about the characters in that film when they're just referencing other conversations or other events. I mean, just the structuring of the film, the way that things are kind of broken up in time. I actually have a Hanzo sword. I've got Bill's sword from the film. My friend actually got me for my birthday last year.
Nice.
I'm fanatically in love with Kill Bill. Tarantino always jokes about making other stuff and never makes it. He wants to make, a sequel.
10 years later.
10 years later, yeah. With I guess I shouldn't spoil anything else, but to a certain character in that film that would be 10 years older, which kind of does spoil something. But anyway, regardless, Kill Bill. My favorite directors are probably Alfred Hitchcock and Tarantino, respectively.
Ooh, you and I are a lot closer in kismet than I thought, because those are my two favorite directors.
I would say my number number 4 film would probably have been North by Northwest, because I think that's my favorite. Alfred Hitchcock, to me, just sort of that's the guy that I think is my favorite. But I could go on about this. But
if you would have listened to the pilot, you would know that Rear Window is my favorite movie of all time.
Rear Window was the first Hitchcock film I ever saw, but North by Northwest, for whatever reason, I just happened to.
It's a great movie. I can't dispute any Hitchcock choice, unless it's Frenzy. Frenzy
I
can't be in
saw that last year and thought it was the weirdest Hitchcock movie. I was like, did he make this? It didn't seem like something he would make.
He made it right when he was on heroin and beating women. I don't know what the hell was going on in his head. It was fucked up. You got to go watch it, Scotty. It's fucked up. And actually, speaking of Kill Bill, I'll tell you a quick story. I took a friend to me and a friend went to Hawaii in a gay way. But we actually went to Hawaii.
It was me.
And thanks for ruining it. There was going to be some surprise. But I came back and he actually got me as a thank you for this whole thing. And it wasn't Vaseline that I asked for. It was, he bought, what was it, 4? It's 4 complete posters.
No, I didn't buy them. They were
I know, but I mean, you got the frame and everything. Mm-hmm. He had them custom framed. There's basically 4 large size posters that when you mat them together equal one huge fucking Kill Bill poster.
That's cool.
It was kick ass.
It's probably 3.5, 4 feet wide.
Yeah, it's fucking huge. It takes up a good It's going to take up a good portion of my wall once I get it back up on the wall.
But if he really liked you, he'd have got you a pussy wagon.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. And you totally would drive that too. I think.
My name's Buck.
But Kill Bill. I just love that every time I show somebody Kill Bill, it just totally I've never seen somebody go I don't really care for it, because there's really something in Kill Bill for everybody. And I mean, for me, it just captured my imagination. When I was in high school, I'd seen it, and I remember after I saw it, I was like, I want to just sit down and write a prequel with the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad, because I just thought of all these. I could just see in my head all these things that they just sort of offhandedly allude to in the film, and I think that's the real sign of excellent writing. And especially after taking screenwriting last year, my last year of college. I mean, Tarantino is by far the best living director right now. I mean, especially writer.
The best part of that movie to me was that it was 2 complete movies. It was basically 4.5 hours, whatever it ended up being. And the actual ending, the build-up, was so anticlimactic, and some people were so furious about that and frustrated. They wanted a huge, massive battle. And I thought it was pitch perfect.
I think that was such an intentional move, and I think that is just why he doesn't give you something you've seen before. He never does. It's always something. Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction are literally responses to expected old tropes of Reservoir Dogs is let's show them the bank robbery, but the movie, but not actually show them the bank robbery, and then Pulp Fiction is just let's take these old ideas that we've seen 1,000 times and let's add something new to it. And that's to me what we should be doing in filmmaking is we shouldn't be doing. There's a place to see the same stuff and Cowboys and aliens. Let's get the old cowboy tropes and alien tropes and throw them together. But I think that and why I like these Korean films I've been watching, stuff like I Saw the Devil and
The Host. I
Good,
love
the Bad,
The
the
Host.
Weird and stuff like that, and kind of push things to places we haven't seen before. And I think Tarantino does that every single time.
I'm with you.
Michael Parks was so good in both Kill Bills as two completely different characters.
It's a shame that what's his name had to die the way he died. David Carradine.
Well,
hey,
no, he's an actual person, not the
character.
Well, but you can't not think of that when you. That's the one way you die. That anytime ever brings your name up, you're like, oh yeah, that's how it happened. So.
I think he was happy with it. He was probably dying with a boner. All right,
he killed Bill.
That is touche, sir. Touche. That's pretty much the Hollywood podcast, or the whole podcast, as I like to call it. I want to make sure to thank everybody. Scott.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm sorry I'm not as awesome a host as you, where I say,
you did great, man. You did great.
No, you're like looking at me like I said it wrong.
He just wants to talk about video games more.
He does, doesn't he? I want to thank Scott Clark and Mike Card. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't get to talk about movies very much these days with people that actually want to talk about movies, so it's nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Letting him come on and talk.
Yeah, Scott doesn't really want to be here, so maybe you can take his spot. Justin, thanks for coming. And
no, thanks. I'm glad my podcast schedule for this week opened up where I could do this. And Mike, you and I are going to have to do a Nerd Rage podcast where we take opposing sides. It would be fun.
It's all Star Trek all the time.
Oh no, baby! Star Trek, Star Wars, Lost. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of ground we could cover.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I think we have a lot of stuff we could probably talk about.
Brian Williams, thank you, sir. You were a little more quiet this time, so next time you better bring it like The Rock. You know what I'm saying?
I will, man. I will.
I feel like you're there and you're I don't know, beating somebody.
Well, he is like 2 hours ahead of us.
Oh my god, man! You have a new one every time.
Yeah.
His wife said bedtime like an hour and a half ago, so he's probably tired.
No, he doesn't have a wife like yours. He actually can do.
You're gonna say this on air?
Do what he wants. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He can do what he wants. he never had an allowance. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so. she's pretty cool. She gives me a long leash.
That's right. Congratulations to all the guys on the podcast that have wives that let them carry their balls. So, and Mike to being the only smart one.
I guess I'm the big winner out of all.
Yes, you are, sir. Congratulations, winner, chicken dinner. You can find us on Twitter now at H_outsider, and also you can email at HollywoodOutsider@Comcast.net. That's HollywoodOutsider@Comcast.net. Please let us know what you thought of the show. Obviously, we're still tweaking. We'll trim it even more next week.
I just want to can I throw something in real quick?
You can throw whatever you want.
For anybody listening, I know Aaron's got a lot of friends that are going to be checking this out. Seriously, shoot him some shoot him some feedback. He's been putting a lot of work into making this happen. He actually did the Hollywood Outsider website years ago, back when we were friends, back in the Landstar days. And I really know he wants to kind of make this work, but the only way it's going to make it work is if we know what you guys want to hear and what.
And don't fucking troll whoever it was last week.
He had me convinced it was you, man. I was like, "There's no way
really
Justin did that."
I feel horrible, but I really thought it was Justin.
Don't feed the troll. Don't feed the troll. Trust me.
Oh, you should have.
I mean, you're from forums, man. You should know. If you even acknowledge them,
I didn't bring it up.
Wow. But just so you know, if you try trolling, we have to approve them, so you won't make it.
Yeah, we'll make it unless we approve it.
So just honest feedback, I'm perfectly fine with. Honest criticism is great, but when you start saying, "Man, you suck dick," that's really not doing much.
But
for
feedback
me.
And topic ideas, anything what you guys would like to hear is what we really want to know about, because we want to make what people want to hear. So
exactly, which is, hey, if all you want to hear is me talk for 2 hours, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Because I like to hear my voice probably more than anybody. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for coming, and have a fantastic night. Please support your local theater. It's very important, so I can keep getting good movies. All right.
Sport art houses, especially.
Like porn art houses? What?
No. Like
Bath
smaller
houses?
indie theaters, not like. Well, when you say local theater, you're talking about the chains. Or you're talking about.
I'm talking about anything where a movie plays, and I
We
mean
go out
buy
passing.
popcorn. Buy popcorn because they don't make much money off the actual movies.
Just don't make me fucking bored.
Decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. And you're unable to understand that I'm doing the best I can. And all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home.
Brian, go ahead.
Hi, this is Brian Williams. I love gnomes, UB40, and sprinkles on my ice cream.
He remembered it exactly like he said it a second ago. No
it was
deviation
only 30 seconds
whatsoever.
ago. I mean,
Yeah, but you're a Southerner. I figured,
Oh.
Oh boy. All right, Justin.
Hi, my name is Justin McCumber. I'm a Sagittarius. I love hair metal, and I'm secretly addicted to So You Think You Can Dance.
Whoa, Mike.
This is
That
Mike
was.
Card.
I feel I gotta get rid of the gayness. But go ahead, Mike.
Mike Card. I really want the fucking football season to start, and I really am glad that I'm not a Bears fan.
Me too. Go
Too
ahead.
bad Chris isn't here. This is Scott Clark. I'm coming from the Official Thread podcast, and I like vagina.
Why is it always sexual? Why can't you ever just say something that's normal?
I just like vagina. I'm sorry. Have you seen them? They're awesome.
They look like little fishies. And
I've never
unfortunately,
heard that.
they smell like little fishies too.
Yeah, like tuna. Aaron's going to have a lot different listeners than we have in the game podcast. He's a lot more popular than I am.
Yeah.
Aaron will have the more discerning.
When people think sunshine, they
Audience.
think me. That's what it is.
Scott's like, listen to my show, I'll suck your dick.
Hey, whatever it takes, you got to take.
Would you
whatever
do
it
that?
takes.
Because seriously, I'll listen to it.
I'll take a shot in the mouth.
oh, save that.
I was gonna say,
Save that.
record granted. And then you're just going to pull that out in the middle of the show. And it's gonna
Save that draw.
Up my listenership by 20%. I'll take a shot in the mouth. I think I just quoted Dogma.
I was recording.
No,
so-
you weren't.
Yeah,
Yes,
it sounds like a Kevin
Yes,
Smith.
I was.
You're not.
I'm recording.
It's going to go in the outtakes.
It will. This podcast just got a little longer.
You go, Mr. Host. You're not going to... I'm surprised you haven't tried to hand it off to me yet.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do it myself. I don't like hosting because I think Scott actually has a perfect host voice.
3, 2, 1. Here, take it, Scott. What?
Hello, welcome to the Hollywood Outsider.
I didn't do anything.
He starts laughing
Why
at
did
me.
I laugh? I smiled.
You're fucking laughing.
I smirked. That's all I did.
You look like you're gonna explode.
1 second into it. Awesome.
Hard not decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. And you're unable to understand that I'm doing the best I can. And all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. You said my love is blind. I just gotta clear my